Good morning, everybody, and welcome to our morning broadcast here on the Verbal Traders pre-market show. And hopefully everybody's having a great day. Unfortunately today, I seem to be all alone. You know, I'm like Taylor Swift early in her dating career. I can get them, I just can't keep them. All right, I promise that's my only Taylor Swift reference for today. I know how much it annoys some of you. I couldn't resist. I had to put one in. All right, but let's talk stocks because we got a lot going on here. Maybe I should write a song. Anyways, all right. We got a lot going on out in the markets. Obviously, the big ticket item was Nvidia's earnings last night. I don't know. Did it deliver? Did it not deliver? Sort of hard to say, isn't it? I mean, Nvidia had earnings. Their stock price, if you look at what happened here, let's look at what happened overnight. 5-minute chart here. You can see that it actually sort of initially popped up and then dropped quite heavily. We're moving a little bit higher here just in the last couple of minutes. So who knows? Nvidia, you know, it didn't do bad, but you know what? How many times have we said you've got to knock the cover off the ball, especially in the semiconductor industry, to go higher? So we'll get into that a little bit more later as we look at the numbers. Speaking of numbers, we can see we've got a few things happening on our gappers list today, and that is bringing us, a couple of things to look at. We did have some other earnings. Frankly, you know, not anywhere near as interesting in my opinion. Otherwise, in numbers, oh, look at that. And I've got no camera here. Hold on. Otherwise, in numbers this morning, we have a couple of economic data points to talk about, most of which were the jobless claims. We had both initial and continuing jobless claims that came out this morning. Starting with the initial jobless claims, those came out at 229,000 versus what you can see there, the 213 that was estimated. And then the continuing jobless claims came out slightly better at 1.954 versus 1.97. So slightly fewer jobless claims coming out early. The other number that I was looking at was the GDP, the Q2 second quarter GDP number. It came out healthier than expected. 3.3% was the reported number versus 3.0 that was delivered. So that's good. I guess that's a good number for the economy, and one that will allow a little bit more growth than anticipated. So, okay. Later today, we do have pending home sales, but guys, really, you probably don't have to worry about that. That is not likely going to give you much movement in the market here at all. Okay, so let's go back to what we've got on the gappers list. And gapping up this morning, at the top of the list, we have Snowflake. SNOW. Now, as usually what happens when I am all on my lonesome, I'm going to do my best here to keep up with everything, but I got to be me, I got to be the other me, I got to be all the me's. So, so it might take me a little longer. So you know what? You guys are of great help when it comes to being able to tell me what's happening in the market. So I know it had earnings last night. I got to do a little bit of research here. I can see that they're gapping up 13.8% on pretty low volume, only 500,000 shares that have been traded so far. I don't look how flat this price action is. It had that initial rise and it looked good. It actually jumped up and hit exactly to that expected move that Jared was talking to us about And then continued going. 222 was what Jared said was the expected move, and it went a few dollars higher. You notice it pulled right back to that 222 level, and then since has gone up, hitting a high of $230.31, but it's just off of that now. Looks like they beat their numbers in the quarter, and you would expect that with them jumping up here. And by quite a bit, actually. Their earnings were up about 34% compared to what was anticipated, over-delivering on both revenue and earnings. So, despite all that good news, I don't love Snowflake just because of the volume. On an average day, it trades just under 5 million shares. And so far this morning, it's got, like I mentioned, the 500,000 shares traded. So that makes it a little tough. Because it's just not quite enough volume for me to get interested in. Now, one that could be more interesting is the second one on, right here. On our gappers list. You can't see a chart. You know what? This is what happens when I got too many things to do. See, I forget to change the charts. My bad. There you go. There's the chart I was talking about, on Snowflake. And as you said, here's the rise. 222 was the number that it had initially moved to, up over it, back down, and now it's lying flat. Thanks, guys, for reminding me. All right, here. The gappers. The next one on this pretty short gappers list, actually, is CRWV. Now, Coreweave is one that can often give us great trading, and I can see it's been moving up quite nicely here this morning, with most of this movement happening in the last 30 minutes or so. Better volume. 2 million shares here traded on Coreweave, and it's up about 7% this morning. So that's looking a little bit better. Now, why is it moving? Frankly, at this moment, I have no idea. So let me do some really fast research. Let's see. They're participating in a tech conference. Now, is this a sympathy play? Maybe on Nvidia moving? No, I don't think so. No idea. If anybody knows why Coreweave is moving, let me know. I'm lost. But it's not bad. Now, this one trades about 25 million shares on the average day, and it looks good. Even if I go into a 1-minute chart here, you can see, I like this type of price action. So Coreweave is not bad. You know what? I'm going to add Coreweave onto my secondary list, and you know what would help if I actually put my secondary list on the screen for you guys. Here it is. So we can see that my primary is always the same for my secondary. We'll put Coreweave on there because it's moving well, and I like it. Did it have earnings? I thought that CrowdStrike had earnings. I didn't know Coreweave had earnings. Or did it have earnings this morning? Let's see. I don't know. I don't think it's earnings on this one. I really don't know. So, all right, guys. Whatever it is, I'm sure that we'll figure it out together. Lauren is saying that Coreweave was discussed on data center outperformance for Nvidia earnings call. So Nvidia discussed Coreweave on their earnings call. Well, that'll do it. That'll certainly put your stock higher. You just need a mention by the big boys. Hey, did anybody watch the earnings call? Did the CEO wear a leather jacket? Because, he's known for his leather jackets at these sessions. So if he was wearing some leather, that could that could have been interesting. So, and then how shiny was it? Was it super shiny? Because it seemed to be getting shinier the better the stock did. So I didn't have a chance to look up anything about the earnings call and how it actually went. Anyways, all right. That's let's take a look now at we got more stuff jumping up onto the gappers list here that we can take a look at. STSS is up here. I know a couple people were looking at this yesterday in the chat room. Here, this is the screen I'm looking for. Too many screens. I'm sorry, guys. And I can see it's got about 680,000 shares, up 12%. Clearly was up much more as it hit a high of 19 earlier this morning and then falling off of that now. So this thing was up quite a bit for a stock that closed below $15 at the close yesterday. So yeah, it seems to be in play. But the big question for me is, why is this thing in play? So Sharps Technology, this is you guys know. Look, I haven't put these logos up here, but you know this is where I've ranted several times on these things. This is another one that is you know, they go into these treasury strategies, and they're just, you know, they're just investing in things that have nothing to do with their core business. This is a medical instrument and supply company. No, they're instead investing in Solana and decide they're going to be a treasury. And I mean, it's good. It's good that I guess the price of Solana is going up, but again, I question how long-term of a strategy that is. Solana is up this morning, which is, I guess, what's giving this stock a boost. And Rafzilla, thank you. Thank you for noticing the shirt. I decided this week, I accidentally started this on Monday, and people commented it so much, I decided I would put on shirts that I could see if I could mess with the camera as much as possible with colorful and patterned shirts. So I decided to create a theme for this week. Nobody seemed to notice yesterday. I guess my shirt wasn't loud enough, but it was a very sort of a salmon pink. But I found it in the back of my closet. Forgot I even owned that shirt. Anyways, all right. Back to stocks. SDSS, if you guys like it, by all means, put it on your list. It's not one that I'm going to spend a lot of time. I'm not going to trade it, so it's not the thing that I'm going to take a look at. All right, I got to go back to the gappers here and see what we've got. I've got ONDS next on our list. I don't expect this to be great, and look at this trading action. It is not very good. Ondas Holdings, and you and I haven't been able to do all week. This is what I'm going to give to Ondas. Meep. We'll give it the garbage truck. Throw that one in the bin because I don't like the look of it. All right, we'll go to the last two. Teva or Teva. I still don't know. After all these years, I still have no idea how to pronounce this. Teva or Teva. But it actually, it's one that it often looks good pre-market. I used to trade this. 2017, 2018, I traded this stock all the time. But it was one that moved pennies at a time. The spread was always 1 cent, and it didn't move much. But I liked it because it was nice and slow, which fit my trading style at the time. It only ever appears when it has earnings, so I've got to imagine that's the case today, where it's here because it had earnings. I wasn't tracking it for that, but it's probably... But that doesn't seem to be the case. In fact, today, it's not earnings. It looks like they announced an FDA-approved weight loss drug. Oh my God, they're jumping on the bandwagon. They've got a weight loss drug called GLP-1, which is, as is common. So Teva, however you say it, is known for producing knockoff drugs, so sort of generic drugs, and they've got a generic weight loss drug. So look, we know that these things have just dominated the pharmaceutical market for the last last year or so, and Teva is getting in on the game. So here you go. Does anybody know? Is it Teva or Teva? It's driving me crazy. Anyways, maybe I'll just stop saying it, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't look that bad. Let's look at a daily chart here. What do we see daily? It's actually sitting in a pretty interesting place here. It's as high, almost as high as it's been for this entire year. It started the year a little bit higher, and look at the gap that we've got. Oh, I do like this. This actually looks interesting on the daily. Don't know whether it's going to give us good trading action. It's just under 1 million shares, and it is a nicely traded stock, but this gap is very interesting because we can move up over 1950 and into this gap. We got a clear run, I think, probably all the way up to at least 21 bucks or 21.50 if we're lucky. So it's Teva. No, it's Teva, since Teva's the shoes. Teva's a shoe? Oh yeah, I used to have some sandals, some Teva sandals, like camping sandals. Anyways, whatever it is. All right, thanks, guys, helping me with my pronunciation. All right, what was the last? There was one more that I saw on this list. Oh, it seems to have dropped off. So there's nothing else on the list at this point. All right, let's. What else have we got gapping up? Well, Tesla, I notice, is gapping up slightly this morning. It's up barely, like we're talking less than 0.1%. On 1 million shares. This was a pretty decent trader over the last few days, and yesterday it also gave some good trading through the afternoon. But nothing, particularly awesome about it. It always trades well. Yeah, I'm going to keep it on my list. I noticed that pretty much all of the semiconductor sector is gapping higher today. AMD gapping higher. Intel, Micron, Broadcom, SMCI, all gapping higher. What isn't gapping higher? The only one that isn't is Nvidia. So let's go to Nvidia because it was the big earnings play after the close yesterday. And you can tell it's certainly in play this morning. We have almost 13 million shares traded so far this morning. And this is because, like we've been saying, after the close at 4:20 yesterday, it had earnings. We did have a live earnings call for that. And they gave a fairly good outlook. They thought that they did beat their numbers in the quarter. However, their outlook, is... It's being interpreted as very mixed, right? Because they did warn about what's happening in China. We all know about that. We all know that China is making a concerted effort not to buy chips from Nvidia. Instead, they're encouraging their companies, Chinese companies, to buy local and use other alternatives. That being said, Nvidia does still dominate the market, and they have the recent go-ahead, I suppose, from the U.S. federal government to sell their chips with that 15% kickback or profit sharing or whatever you want to call it to the U.S. federal government. That being said, it wasn't enough to convince the market to encourage Nvidia's price to go to an all-time high. That being said, this price action this morning looks good to me. I mean, it looks good for this thing potentially, right, to move higher at the pre-market. Just as a reminder, our all-time high, if I look on a daily chart here, is very close, right? I mean, it's 184.48. In fact, right now, I'm going to put a level right there. Right there. Right there. There we go. Sometimes I can't get the right menu. Because I think that we've got a shot either at the open or some point today of going to a new all-time high. Really, it's going to depend if I can find pictures of Jensen Huang, the CEO, in a shiny coat or not. He needs a shiny leather coat. If he had a shiny... Come on, man. Do it for us. We won't see it? I don't know. He looks like is this stock photos or did he have a leather coat at the earnings? The problem is, right, they've got all these articles for me and they're putting pictures of him, and he's always seen, right? Like I've got this picture here that is on this article that I'm looking at. And there he is, right? In his leather coat. And then, I look up a different article and he's got another leather coat on, so I know they're using stock photos. I don't know what he wore yesterday. We need to know. It's important to our trading. Anyways, they did predict a pretty high Q3 number, expecting their H20 chip to still deliver value and deliver them about $54 billion of revenue in the next one. Oh, come on, guys. I had like pictures of him in fur coats. I'm sorry, guys. Thank you for letting me know that I had the wrong screen up. Where was he? See, it's important. Where was he? Here he was. Here he was in his leather coat. There he is. But again, I think it's stock photo because I don't know. I don't think that's what he was wearing yesterday because different articles had different pictures. Anyways. So, Hopefully, there you go. See, um, yeah, I know. I do miss Carlos a lot, guys. I hope Carlos is having an absolutely fantastic time in Florida. But man, I can't wait for his vacation to be over. Yeah, it's my bad. So, anyways, I'm trying. I'm trying to get the news, manage the screens, do the talking. I'm working as hard as I can. In any event, all right. So that's Nvidia. Look, I'm pretty excited about Nvidia for today. I think whether it does break the all-time high or not, it's absolutely going to in play. So it's number one on my list for today, just because of the earnings news, and I sort of like the fact that it was relatively tame at the aftermarket movement. Right, like I was actually expecting more fireworks. I thought there was going to be a little more movement. I thought it was going to do more. We've got a range set now with this big candle that happened when the earnings came out, all the way down to this $72 range roughly. In fact, I'm going to put a level right here while we're here. And I think that, so we know what our low water mark is. Our high water mark is the all-time high. Again, and in between, there's lots of room to play. So I think NVIDIA is going to be a great opportunity. So I'm definitely watching that for day. That being said, let's get back to this gappers list and see what we actually have gapping that I can talk about. Starting with COO on the list, not one that I'm familiar with. COO is down 16%, only 600,000 shares traded though. This is the Coop. What the heck is this one? The Cooper Company? Instrument company, and I bet you the news is going to be. Please tell me it's not. Oh no, it's earnings. Okay, phew. It's an earnings. All right, so it looks like they had earnings. They beat their numbers in the quarter, but did not give a rosy outlook. That's why they're dropping. It's not making my list. I was afraid it was going to be a treasury. So, hold on. Woo! Allergy sneeze. It is like dark and rainy here today. And, of course, when the rain comes, it often brings out the allergens. So, I've been suffering a little bit here this morning with that as well. All right, next on our gappers list. What we got here that we can take a look at on the gappers list. JD and Baba on the list. So we've got some of the Chinese stocks, it looks like, moving down this morning. The volume is there. Look at how sparse the price action is. 1.3 million shares traded, but you'd be hard-pressed to find it on the charts here. Really doesn't look good. We've looked at these in the past. Look at what the daily looks like, right? It's just not a great trading stock anymore. Neither of these. Baba is the same one. I used to love to watch this, and it just has not been good. Look at this daily chart. Looks horrible, and it's not, it's just not interesting for me to trade. And it seems to be on the tail of this company. People in the chat room had mentioned yesterday. There's a stock called now I don't know how to pronounce this. Meituan's, Meituan, Meituan. Anyways, they had a huge profit warning, and it seems to have dragged the whole market down, as they were saying. They just have not been doing well. Significant losses over their anticipated earnings, and that has got seems like a lot of Chinese stocks dropping. I don't really know how to pronounce it, and it doesn't look like that company it's traded on the Hong Kong Stock Exchange, but not traded on the North American Stock Exchange. So we're just seeing sort of the secondary knock-on effect to these stocks. So I'm not going to trade. I'm not going to trade Baba. I mean, I see Zen Trader actually has got a longer term position in this. Okay. All right. Well, if you're trading it, I'll leave it to you. If you're short back in early part of the year, February, March, you could be pretty happy. But anyways, not something I love. One thing that I do want to take a look at here that is gapping down is CrowdStrike. It was looking at yesterday, right? A big drop, But then later on in the evening, it actually came right back up and recovered that. So that move actually, I think, is interesting, despite the fact that it's only got about just under 300,000 shares traded, and it's only down about 3.7%. This might be interesting after the when the market opens. The volume's a little too low for me to love it, but I sort of like it because this move gives me hope that there might be some interesting price action when the opening bell rings. But we probably have better things. That being said, Coreweave is the only one that I've put onto my secondary list at this point. So I'm looking back at Teva. Is it something that I want to trade? I don't know. I'm not really sure. The other one that we were watching for earnings last night, just before I move off of last night's earnings, was HPQ, HP Enterprises. They don't typically trade a lot of volume, and they're true to form here. Like, we got 28,000 shares, really nothing going on, but it did have earnings in case you were interested. This morning we had earnings on a few things. A lot of the sort of the discount stores, well, not discount, but a lot of sort of retail stores. Dollar General, as a discount store, I guess, is up there. They had earnings overnight, beat their numbers on revenue and earnings. They're up 2.6%, but on very low volume. Not something I'm going to spend a lot of time looking at. Best Buy had earnings, BBY. Also low volume here, up a little bit on a beat on earnings, delivering $9.4 billion in revenue versus a $9.2 billion estimate, and $1.28 versus the $1.22 that they were thought to deliver. So that's them. And we also had Dick's Sporting Goods, which had been in the news earlier for some deals that they were signing. Dick's had a good quarter, delivering $3.65 billion in revenue and $4.38 in earnings, both of which beat the anticipated numbers. All of these have low volume this morning and aren't trading all that well, but I just thought I'd mention them because they're there in a group. Sort of in that same sector, earnings this morning, we also had Burlington Stores, which is BURL, if that's one that you might be interested in. Victoria's Secret, lovely store, not a great stock play. And Bath and Body Works, BBWI, which also had earnings overnight, delivering, basically a meet. They met their numbers pretty much head on, so there you go. There's a bunch of other earnings for you that you can take a look at. Is Burlington's, they're still a thing? I mean, clearly they are. They're a publicly traded stock that's still out there. I have to admit, I don't think I've ever been in a Burlington's coat factory because I don't think they ever expanded to Canada. And as I mentioned to you guys a couple of times, I'm watching The Office for the first time. I've never watched it. The U.S. version, for anybody who's in the UK, so my apologies there. But and I never got into it before, and now I've got into it, and they mention it. They mentioned the Burlington Coat Factory a couple of times in the show, and anyways, I guess it's a cultural thing because it doesn't make sense to me really because I'm not one that watch it. And a lot of people, Alex is saying that the UK version is miles better. The US one is quite good. So if the UK one is even better, then maybe I should watch it. I've got to imagine it's very different, right? Because the US one feels very American. There's a lot of US jokes, which is not bad. I mean, that's the humor that I guess I know quite well. But it's I've got to imagine that the British one is very British, right? Like the UK one. Anyways, it's a ripoff. It's a licensed version of it. All right. Anyways, I know that it's interesting to me how that show can actually cause a lot of angst with people, right? They get very upset. If you love the British one, it feels like you have to hate the American one, and almost vice versa. Or if you love the American one, you almost have to say, I've never seen the British one. There is a cultural thing about that too. That's just my observation. So, and Alex is admitting he or she. I don't know if you're a he or she, but anyways, that you're British. Hey, I'm not making any judgment. I just say that's the one I've seen. I'll have to see if I can find the British one, and then I can watch it. Alex is a he. All right, there you go, Alex. So there you go. Anyways, enough about that. Let's get back to stocks. So right now on my list, we've got it at the bottom of the screen. I'm going to watch my usual Nvidia and AMD. Like I mentioned, Nvidia top of my list, absolutely my go-to. AMD I think is going to trend and trade well. It had a good sympathy move. Look at this sympathy move after hours yesterday. As it also dropped, but has fully recovered that amount and is now green. And Tesla that I mentioned that just always gets good moves. And of course, I've been watching PLTR recently. It's been a little tougher to trade. So just be careful if you're watching and looking to trade PLTR. Yesterday, I felt it was, it was a little bit nasty on people who are trying to get some trades on it. So be careful. So again, on my secondary list, I've got Coreweave. And that's really it of the secondary ones that we've looked through. We looked through a bunch of others that are possibilities, but nothing that I liked enough. Now, how about you guys? What have you got that I've missed, that I haven't looked at? While you're doing that, I'd really appreciate it if you gave me... Oh, no, and I don't have any water. If you gave me a thumbs up, it really helps the growth of the channel, at least for the effort that I'm putting in. I appreciate that. All right, Snowflake. Yeah, we did look at Snowflake earlier, Octavio. It's just that the volume's a little lower than I normally would like. I do like this overnight move, and the fact that it's up here could give us some interesting movement at the open. It's a NYSE stock, which also means if you're trading this and the opening bell rings at 9:30, wait for the volume, right? Don't anticipate its direction before that, or you could get hurt. You might get it right, but often what they do is they head fake you until that volume comes in. So watch that volume. Snowflake is a possibility. You know what? We could set, I'll put it on my secondary here, just so we can set some levels on it to be ready when it moves. AMD Alberto in the chat room, I already mentioned. You're mentioning here RGTI, good old Regetti. What's it doing this morning? Regetti is up marginally, 1%. Wow, good volume though. 6 million shares traded, so it often gets good volume, but I think that's much more than it has gotten recently pre-market. Is there some news on Regetti? What's making Regetti so excited this morning? Oh, wait a second. Quantum eMotion has created the first generation quantum random number generator chip. Okay. Sorry, that news really amuses me. Quantum is known for being non-precise, right? It can do calculations really fast, but they haven't got it, consistent. So to create a random number generator, I think we did that a long time ago. And with other technology, that doesn't feel like a very advanced type of function, and that would be exactly what quantum is perfect at, because a lot of its computation is random. So good for you, quantum eMotion. Anyways, all right. If that's the news, I am not impressed. There's no true random number generator in computer science. Well, maybe quantum, that's what quantum is built for. They can't get it to do consistent things, so make it a real random number generator. Okay, so maybe that is more of a thing than I'm aware of. So, pardon me for mocking you, quantum eMotion. All right. People are correcting me here. All right. Maybe they can use quantum to create the improbability drive. For my British friends, you should know what the reference is. Name that book. All right. Moving on. Okay. All right. What else we got that you think I should take a look at? Thank you. Don't forget. Don't panic. Have a towel. What else have you got? I don't see any other references mentioned. CRWV we looked at. Regetti we've looked at. Yeah, I don't like those. Okay. Well, with all that being done then, guys, let's move on to the next portion of our program where let me let you know what we've got happening in the Bear Bull Trading chat room today. As it's Thursday. I can't believe it's Thursday. How did this happen? Is it Thursday? Yeah, it is. It's Thursday. All day. Anyways, which means that we have our mentorship sessions going on today. And for mentorship in the Verbal Trading community, we've got Lenny, who does his trend trading mentorship at 11. We've got Jared, who I think Jared is available. If you're out there, Jared, let us know. Jared's got some family matters to address, but he may be here for his option trading mentorship at noon. If not, then we understand, and it's not an issue. And we've got Thor, who does his ever-popular mentorship session in the evening. And Jared says he's good for his options session at noon. And thanks, Jared, for being a trooper. I appreciate that. So, guys, so 11, 12, and 8 p.m. are our 3 sessions today. If you want to join us here in the community, well, all you have to do is go to bearabletraders.com. And if you click on go to the main page, you can scroll down to the bottom and see what our membership options are. The Elite Annual is still on sale with the summer sale, 50% off our Elite Annual Access. It's your best deal if you're looking to join. And the other thing, if you're looking to join, would be you could join us in paradise. We are going to Thailand with quite a number of our moderators. Andrew's going to be there. We were listing yesterday. We think, Carlos is going to be there, and Lenny's going to be there, and Eamon. God, I'm dying to meet Eamon in person. But anyways, he's going to be there. I can't go myself, unfortunately. But I went to the one in Colombia last year, and it was absolutely amazing. So if you're interested, check it out. You're not going to get a better deal, by the way. I promise you. Andrew always throws in lots of extras, and it's a great deal because it basically includes everything, right? Once you pay for your own flight, and you pay the all-inclusive price, and then from the time you land at the airport in Thailand until the time you leave, Andrew will take care of you. So Andrew and the team, that I can promise you, it's going to be pretty awesome. Paris has to be there. I hope Paris is going to be there. Are you in the room, Paris? I haven't seen Paris around the last couple of days, but this is perfect trading for him because anybody that knows Paris knows, one, he is an absolutely phenomenal trader. He really is. He can, he sticks to his plan, and he nails it every time. But he's also a night hawk, and he doesn't like getting up early in the morning, and he's a party guy. So, this is perfect because the trading will be in the evening. Paris can do some stuff in the afternoon. He can then trade and then hit the clubs right after. It is going to be awesome for him. And if you're going to be there with him, I promise you, he'll be looking for people to go if you want to. If not, just say no, and he'll leave you alone. But if you do, he's got you covered. That I can promise. It's going to be pretty awesome, this retreat. So check it out anyways, bearabletraders.com/retreat, and you can get the information on that yourself. All right. That's what we got going on with all of that stuff. We've got about, 18 and a half minutes until the market opens. So we got a little bit of time. Let me set some levels on the things that we're talking about while our moderators hopefully get their lists in so I can let you know what our moderators are going to be watching. Since I have it on the screen, even though it's not on my gappers list, let's take a look at RGTI. So many people told me that I should take a look at it. You seem to like it. Should I put it on my list? Maybe I'm going to watch it because I feel I don't want to get the FOMO, right? I have it right now that I'm going to be left out if something interesting happens. So let's take a look. Where is Regetti sitting? Right now, the price is sitting at $5.59, which looks like it's smack dab in the middle of this consolidation price range that we've had for the last couple of months. I'm going to put something at the low here, roughly $13.84, and something, I'm going to actually mark this level right here, around $17.14. So that if it breaks out, that's when things will get really interesting to my mind on Regetti. Now let's zoom in a little bit closer using a 60-minute chart. And what have we got in this range? Well, yesterday's high is already marked for me, $16.10, $16.09 to be exact. And look at that, right? These levels are not coincidental. Look at how this was the high. I love it when these levels do this. Yesterday's high at 1609. If you go back, look at the days in which this was almost exactly the low. We have 3 different days, right, in the last 2 to 3 weeks where this was the exact low. So what was support when it broke lower then became resistance to the top side. So that's a level I'm definitely going to be watching. And then, of course, we got the lows of the previous 2 days to help me on the downside. So some good levels on Regetti. Now that I've looked at it, I actually like Regetti better than I did. So, yeah. we might I might actually put a closer eye to that at the open. So there you go. Thank you to everybody for mentioning that. Okay, let's go to the other ones. Coreweave was one of the other ones we were looking at, sitting at a price of 102.88 right now. Looking at the daily chart, geez, I don't have any levels really nearby. I've got the highs and lows of the previous 2 days, which are all below the current price. So I've got that. If we break lower than that, I'm going to mark here a level at about 88.84, because that would be the low where the days had spiked to. To the high side, I think I need to get looking at a in closer here on a 60-minute chart, because I don't really have anything at the high. Look at this. The high of pre-market, once again, no coincidence. Look at where this high of pre-market hit. Here at a 104.12. It's exactly the high that we hit way back here on the 18th. Well, not way back, but 10 days ago on the 18th. So I think that is a level I'm going to keep an eye on. If we break through that, I don't really see any strong levels here. I think the next one I would take a look at maybe is here at 112.62. That's $10 up, so that's a ways to go. I mean, not to say we can't, but that's a long run. So we'll see what happens. I don't really have a lot of great levels I like on Coreweave, but we'll see what happens. Snowflake, once again, another earnings play. Big gap up overnight to the downside. Let me get rid of the levels that I'd had. These are obviously from way back. I'm going to put this high from yesterday here at 205.98. That's where it was actually high of pre-market, I suppose it was actually, really early this morning, before it got the... When was this? Oh, I see. It was pre-market yesterday. All right, good. So I'll mark that. Yeah, what do we got? Snowflake, is this all-time high territory in Snowflake? No, it is not. Okay, all right. So we go back here. We only have to go back to beginning of last year, and we can see that it absolutely has been higher. So yeah, up higher. Well, we've got this area that was the bottom of this 226, 227 roughly. I'll put a level there, and then I'll mark sort of the low end of this high. Where is this? Right around here, 233.30, in case we really get rocking. I'll look for that, because then, then I've got to look for the all-time high area. I assume this is actually all-time high now. Let's see. Let's go back as far as we can on snow. Oh, no. I am so wrong. Look at this thing, man. The farther back I go, the higher levels I find. Okay. So we're nowhere near all-time highs. We're just near like a short-term multi-year high. This thing was up over $400 back in 2021. So... okay, but still, we've got some good levels to let us know. And, of course, the big dog, Nvidia. Big dog, Nvidia. Well, I was already marking some levels I liked, right? To the downside, I've got this 171.85 I'm going to watch. Obviously, we have the lows of the previous 2 days. We have that low that was set overnight, right? Can't ignore that, right? This low down here, 171.85 that I already mentioned. Like that big candle, that overnight low. In fact, I would also watch this area here. Look at how long we consolidate. I'm going to put it to the top side because we're above that now. But if we drop 176.25 is a place that I would look for. And then the other area that actually, before we get there, the sort of the pre-market low. The pre-market low officially is 177.03 because of this candle at 4 a.m. But there was a little more price action taking place in here. So I would wait for this thing to see if we get some support at 178 if we get down to that level. Again, I don't know if it's going to drop or pop, but I mean, $2 is nothing for Nvidia to move, so it can absolutely do that. Which also means, of course, we've got to look to the top side, right? And then the top side move, again, this candle, the high was 183.40, so I'm absolutely going to put a level there. Because I want to know if and when it gets up to that. And then, as we already marked earlier today, we've got the all-time high, 184.48. So some good levels bracketing the Nvidia price. This is what I would look for, just to see. And sometimes, often, right, the price can blow right through the levels that I set, and they're meaningless. Other times, and I was pointing this out yesterday, sometimes when you set these levels, right, it's amazing how well it obeys it. So it's worth being aware of if you're getting into a trade or you're already in a trade and you're looking for, levels of support or resistance. I use those because you never know when they're going to come into play. So, Vad, you're saying that they've raised their target on Nvidia. Have raised their targets on Nvidia. Let's see. I didn't actually look at that this morning. A few, Oppenheimer and a couple of others, Morgan Stanley, have reiterated their prices this morning. And it looks like, though, that they increased their price target. Oppenheimer, for example, now has a price target of $200 to $225 on Nvidia. Evercore's got a price target of $140 to $214. So yeah, they do look like they've increased some price targets. Yeah, to up above 200. Some have really big ranges, though, right? Morgan Stanley says 170 to 200. So they're really hedging their bets here as they go above and below the price. Needham 160 to 200. So yeah, it's that's really, analysts. You guys know how I feel about it. Don't make me go on a rant about analysts. We don't need that for this morning, but in any event, they'll do what they'll do. Okay, I've got that set. The last one that I like that you may not, but AMD, I love watching it. It doesn't let me down. I've traded AMD very consistently. I traded it yesterday. I think I've traded it every day this week. In fact, whether it's at the open or at the close, I've pretty much. In fact, my best trade I know for sure this week was absolutely on AMD. I got a great move on it, and it's my good friend. Gapping up this morning at 168.60 is the current price, and we have let's take a look at a daily here. I've already got levels on it, right? 172.10, 175.15 to the top side, to the downside. Well, below the current price, I'll use the lows of the previous 2 days. I can even use yesterday's high as a level here, as yesterday's high is 167.68, which is exactly a buck below where we're sitting right now. So we'll see if that happens. If we get a little lower, actually, I do want to level down here, 162. What is the here? 162.17. I'm going to put this at 162.20 just so I get the right notice. In case we go lower here, look at how this area, again, resistance, right, to the top side back in July became support. So I'll take a look at that if we get a drop. Again, I never try and predict what we're going to do at the open. I don't know. I just set my levels and I wait for the price action to give me an idea of where things are likely to move. All right, some of our moderators are getting their list in. Seems to be a slow and quiet day, as our mods are. A lot of them aren't putting their stock trading lists in. But let me tell you what, those that have got their list in, Thor keeps changing colors on me. I can't keep up with him. He was like hot pink the other day. I tried to copy him with my shirt, and then he goes green. Anyways, he's going to be looking at AMD, PLTR, and Tesla. Man, look at that. He managed to exclude Nvidia from his list. And then, of course, some futures charts. And as always, he's going to be watching his scanners. Phil is going to be watching Nvidia, AMD, and Tesla. So good trio there, in my opinion. And Jared, not trading today. And he said the earnings stocks could be the cream of the crop. So he's putting a thumbs up there for Nvidia and maybe, Snow, CrowdStrike, some of those, but he's not going to be trading. Brian is going to be trading Nvidia or watching Nvidia, Tesla, AMD, and of course, as always, he's going to watch the triple Qs and the spies. So, and Brian, of course, trading live in the chat room. And he's going to be helping out our friends there. So, and as always, look at this. People always posting little images and memes in the chat room. So I love it. Thanks, everybody. Okay, so that's what our moderators so far are watching. Brian is queuing up and getting ready to go. I know on YouTube you won't be able to hear him. Yesterday, when we did our live earning call, he was channeling his inner party guy, I guess, because he was sort of ready for Burning Man without being at Burning Man. And actually, Brian, I don't know if you're on the mic. We haven't heard from Andrew, have we? I'm worried for his safety. He's good. All right. Hopefully he's all good. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I imagine they had to disentangle everybody from the orgy tent, so they were probably busy for a while when it blew over. But anyways, all right, guys, whatever. Trade well. I hope you have a good morning, Brian. We'll see you in about an hour as you join us there on YouTube. But have a good time. All right, guys. 'Tis just you and I together. Let me. I got to get my headset on now. Being that I got to get Brian. Otherwise, you're just going to hear this weird echo of Brian. All right. And of course, now that it's just us together between friends, Brian, man, he goes to Burning Man. I think he's been a couple of times. He chose not to go this year. I don't know if that means that he's permanently done with it, but I've never been, and frankly, I have very little desire to go. So, has anybody here ever been to Burning Man? I I don't. It's like Andrew keeps saying, you don't know unless you go. You've got to go. It's a whole experience, and I'm like, I don't want that experience. I'm usually up for any experience. For whatever reason, that one is one I'm just like, I don't know. It feels just maybe I'm too old. It feels too weird for me. You guys are still on Thor's haboobs from yesterday. Yes, the windstorm. I guess I brought it back by mentioning the windstorm at Burning Man. But anyways, all right. Bonnaroo, Andrew. I don't even know what that is. You did Bonnaroo, KO. It's on your bucket list. Yeah. Really, really good soil. Well, look at your name. Your name is really good soil. You go to the desert with that clay stuff, that's not really good soil. No wonder you don't want to go out there. I don't blame you. Okay. All right, we'll get back to stocks, guys. I got to set up my screens here so that I can be ready for the morning session. I'm going to I feel some pressure to trade for you guys. I'm not normally a very active trader at the open, but I'll see what I can do for you today. I'm going to put all of my stocks here. I'm getting Coreweave and CrowdStrike and Snow set up. You guys were mentioning Regetti, so I'm going to put RGTI here just so I can keep an eye on it. I've got, of course, Nvidia, Tesla, PLTR all set up on my screens. What do I like best? I actually have to admit, I sort of like the look of Coreweave. Gapping up 5%, 2.9 million shares. Regetti also doesn't look bad. Both of those might be fallen angel type trades. If they can get a big drop off the open, I could trade them higher. Snowflake's a confusing one because it didn't have bad news, to my opinion, but it's so it's gapping higher but moving down pre-market. So I don't know what to make of that one directionally. Coreweave is just too close to the VWAP, so that one I'm not sure what to do with. And of course, the Nvidia. Nvidia to me is the big dog. I've got to believe it's going to go higher. Yeah, I don't know. It's sitting $1.30 to the red. Nvidia is going to be a tough one. You could really get hammered on this, right? Because Nvidia could pop hard, or it could really drop. Like I don't think it's just going to sit still. I think it's going to do one of those two things. It's going to move. I'm pretty convinced. Now I could be wrong, but I am convinced at this point that it's going to move. The other one I need to find a screen for. I've got too many charts here to watch, but I've got to watch AMD on this morning, because I think AMD could be the sympathy move of the day here. Pull AMD in here. All right. Guys, I think I've got everything I need to watch. 2 minutes till the market open. Jim, you're saying Nvidia has orders stacked. I'm not surprised. I would expect it to have orders stacked on the top side. It doesn't mean it's going to go get them. We were noticing this yesterday, actually the last couple of days before earnings came out, that it had a lot of orders stacked at levels that it just did not go get. It would just leave them there. So now 185 is quite a ways away from the current price. I want to see orders stacked all the way up. So that would be every dollar on the way to 185. The depth of my level 2 doesn't go to 185, so I can't see that, but you've got book maps, so you've got more depth than I do. So that's good. I see a few orders at 182, but not many. I do like Nvidia. I think it's my number one that I'm going to look at. As you guys, I see somebody mention Coreweave. Yeah, Coreweave just dumped as it just had a big drop here. So we head into this open. You might be able to hear my alarm. That's my 1 minute alarm. So we've got under 60 seconds until the market open. So we'll have to see what we get here. I don't know, guys. I'm gonna watch Nvidia, I think, and try and keep an eye on Regetti and PLTR. See if they give a pullback opportunity. I'm not, again, this is a tough day for me because I don't have anything that absolutely screams, here's what it's likely to do. You know, often when you get the earnings, I like earnings because that gives the good move, but these earnings, the one that actually had earnings, are moving in a confusing fashion for the most part, and Nvidia is just erratic. Okay, opening bell coming in 3 seconds too. Let's listen to it. There you go. There's the opening bell. Let's see what we've got here. I'm waiting for Nvidia to do something exciting. Something exciting, I guess. I'm going long Nvidia. I'm taking the chance here. I'm taking the chance on Nvidia. I'm taking a partial on it. You guys can see this on the screen. Moving my stop very aggressive. In fact, I'm going to move it a little over break even because I'm worried about this thing spiking against me. Here we go. Taking another partial on Nvidia. Okay, guys, look, we're in early. Nvidia's paying off. I decided to jump right in there. Love it, love it, love it. Here we go. All-time highs. Are we going to get there? Yeah, baby. I'm going to take another partial hill just ahead of 184. Because we've got to. I'm going to get in and brag in the chat room. I'm gonna rejoin the chat room just so I can brag to everybody that I am long Nvidia. Ha ha! 181.80 is my entry, so looking good. All right. All right. So guys, I'm pretty happy with this early trade for me. So let's see. Now PLTR did move back. It did move back here. So I got to show it on the screen for you guys. Where's PLTR? PLTR did do a move back to the VWAP and then a pop, but a little bit of a tough trade. Regetti didn't pull back, so it didn't really set up for the trade that I was looking for on that. Coreweave. Yeah, Coreweave, this is sort of predictable. Look at Coreweave. See how it dropped right before the market opened? And then when it opened, it came back and recovered that. I see that move quite a bit. Hard to predict, though. I mean, it happens, but not enough that I could say it's a reliable trade. So that little bit tougher. We'll see we'll see what happens with Coreweave as the open continues. And the other one that we were looking at, guys, was Snowflake. I know we're only 2 minutes in, but trying to keep an eye on everything. Snowflake is just up marginally here, so we'll see what goes there. It looks like I'm losing altitude here on my Nvidia trade. I'm still long on it right now, but it's pulling all the way back down here. Hopefully it doesn't hit my stop loss. As you can see, I'm hoping that I can stay in this. I'd love to get a move at all-time high, but look look at where the spike happened when I took my partial. I wasn't able to get right at the high, but it was right at that all-time high, right? So this is why we look at these levels. That level I set, like to the penny. Well, not quite to the penny. 1 penny short of the all-time high. So when I just got stopped out on Nvidia, so that's okay. Look, I got my move. I mean, I would have loved to get something at a new all-time high, but I'm very happy that I even took the trade. So you can see I got in just after it went green. I figured it was a good risk to reward scenario, and I'm pretty happy. Pretty happy with that trade. So not again, not a massive trade really from a dollar's point of view, because I didn't take huge shares just because of the volatility, but Michelle, yeah, that was the setup for me, right? I was thinking that it was likely to, if it started to move, it was going to go directionally, sort of, at least it was a momentum play. It was purely a momentum play at the open. I wanted to see enough momentum to bring it to green, and when it did, I saw that it looked like it was about to continue, so I just jumped in with sort of half of my normal size, which was only about 100 shares on this, and played it higher. Took my partials on the way up, and then stopped when it came back down to the break even. So I just played the momentum, put the rest at break even, and just waited out to see if it could move higher. So right now, no idea what Nvidia is going to do. Probably going to wait for a longer move. One that is moving well here is CrowdStrike. All green candles. Oh, well, it was all green candles. This minute hasn't closed. You got 10 seconds here. See if this can stay green. But CrowdStrike has moved up here about $20. So. All right. So. We'll all right. All right, so Nvidia is dropping down here. You can see a little bit lower. So this actually might be interesting for a short play. It's not my trade though, right? I'm not going to go chasing this. Wow, PLTR sold off here. Look at this. Interesting. Not a huge move for PLTR. It's about $1 though, so it went red. The market, I noticed. Look at how the SPY chart. What does this look like to you? What chart does this look like? Looks very much like Nvidia right now, right? Nvidia making up such a big part of the market. I've got to believe it's having the majority influence, but it's not alone. I mean, AMD, that I haven't really looked at here this morning, looks very similar. So I got to believe this is actually Nvidia that's pulling almost everything with it. Tesla looks very similar as well. So look at that. So all these charts looking very similar. All right, well then let's watch the one that I presume is moving the rest. We'll keep an eye on Nvidia. Oh, people have a bunch of trades here. All right, Google. You're mentioning Google here. Oh, the Mr. Dodu. Did we decide whether you're Mr. Doodoo or Dodu? I like Dodu better. Anyways, Google. Yeah, Google actually has had a good move. It didn't do the up and down like a lot of other things, so it's sitting well. Oh, Mike. Mike is in Zoom. Let's see if I can add him in here. Thanks, Mike. I stopped looking because I was looking before for somebody all the time, and I stopped. There you are. You could have just spoke up, and I would have heard you. Yes. Oh no, actually, I wouldn't have heard you. Yes, I can hear you.
Talking. That's why I was like, all right.
I didn't.
Good.
I didn't enable your camera, so because I didn't know you were there. So look, well, I have a guest, everybody. Woof. I can take a drink now.
There you go.
Thank God.
You can take a drink. Sorry, Peter. Well, I was traveling yesterday, so I got up and I did my levels, and then I went back to sleep because I thought John was covering. And then I woke up right before the open, saw you by yourself, so I was like, "Oh, let me see if I can get on here."
No
And
worries.
ironically, you took the trade long on Nvidia. I took
Yeah.
it short.
Really? That's like Bizarro World. Normally, I'd be the
Yeah,
one
so
shorting it, and
I
oh,
know. So you can actually look. I posted it right below your image in the chat room.
okay. Let's.
I'm all out of it. I looked from a few times. I took it short off that level and then took it back to the low of day. So
Let's see here. Let's see if I can get you guys. So yeah, Mike, literally. So I was. You can see my trade here on the upside, on the way up, and then stop out at break even. Mike went short up here when he saw it hit that all-time high and fail, I assume, and traded it
yep.
short on the way down. So beautiful. Look at that. We got the opposite sides of that volcano. So that's pretty cool. Neat.
Yeah.
All
So
right. Well done.
that's probably gonna consist of my trading today. I wasn't planning on trading. I got in last night at like 2:30 in the morning
Oh wow.
from traveling back from Omaha. So I was pretty tired this morning.
And
But
how
that
was
was just too
Omaha?
good of a trade. It was Omaha.
It was
What's
Omaha.
the, I mean, what's there to say about
You didn't
Omaha,
run
right?
into the Oracle of Omaha? You didn't
No, I
see
did not
Warren?
run into Warren Buffett,
No, he wasn't
but
at the soccer
did
game.
not
I
see
thought.
him.
Oh, well.
No, he didn't want to come to the College of St. Mary soccer game. I don't know
Oh.
why,
Well, never know.
but
He's a local guy.
yeah,
He likes
you
his
never
local
know.
events. He's known to show up at things.
That is true.
Um,
No
okay,
brainer.
guys. Well, yeah, let's. We got a few things that are moving here. Rigetti has had a good move. Anybody trade Rigetti? It actually had a decent move off the open. I know you guys had called it out for me. I was looking for more of a pullback, right? I wanted to pull down before I would take it higher, so it didn't do that. I was a little concentrated on Nvidia as well, of course.
Yeah.
The other one
Okay.
was CrowdStrike, which was again one of our earnings. It had a good move higher here. I mentioned to you guys I like CrowdStrike because if you look at the overnight, right, how it dropped and pulled back up, I thought that might
Yeah.
give some good opening price action, and sure enough, it actually delivered. So that's another good one. If any of you managed to catch that, that is still going higher. So yeah, you could have got on this ride
I
anywhere along the path, and you'd be good.
I have no idea. I'm trying to get this thing set up. There we go.
All right.
Share.
Oh, Brett, you're on it now. Good for you. Awesome. Awesome. Well, I'm glad that somebody's in there trading. A couple people. Dr. Peter. Love the name. You're trading. Ilyas, you're in it. So a few people are in there. That's awesome. That's good. Yeah.
All right.
You catch your trades. I noticed that Nvidia might now become choppy. It had its early move up and down.
Yeah.
Now we're right back at VWAP, which also happens to be just below the yesterday's close. So this could be a range that we sit in. Look at in the pre-market, I guess, how long we sat in this range here. Sorry, Mike, go ahead.
Yeah, and this rate a couple weeks now. This is kind of smack dab right in where it's just kind of been selling off, buying into, selling off, buying
Right.
into, if you look.
Right.
So,
This is where we drew those boxes earlier,
yeah.
guys, if you remember, right? I had created these boxes here. So if we extend this over exactly like Mike says, right? This is the range where we saw so much price action consolidating. And you could even technically, I suppose, draw a bigger box if you wanted to take these wicks into effect right
Yeah.
down at the low. So, I would actually put a second box in here. Let me put another rectangle that would be here down into this one, this range probably right down here. So you can see we've got sort of these two sort of overlapping boxed areas that, yeah, like Mike says, very well worth keeping an eye on because I as much as I was hoping for a big move to all-time highs, we might just
Yep.
end up playing within these boxes.
So that's really why I took it short because it was at the top of that
Yeah.
box and it
There you go.
had
Makes sense.
touched, and then I mean you started to see the selling volume, so I was like, Yep, I'm gonna get into this.
I see
It's worth it. I'll risk it.
Breakwater Studio is saying, love the name. Breakwater Studio. Roblox. Yeah, Roblox had a decent move this morning. Very low volume, though. See, Roblox this has got 700,000 shares traded. And for me, that would have been hard to get sort of good, sort of reliable price action on. It's also a New York stock, a NYSE stock. So I would have just been waiting for volume, which frankly never really would have happened. So, yeah. Good move. It looks good, but price action's pretty slow on it. So tough to trade. Google, I'm seeing mentioned here again. Yeah, Google. Yeah, near all-time high. Where's the all-time high? I think it just happened a couple of days ago, didn't it? 210.52 looks like that all-time high.
Yeah.
210.52.
There's some AMD right now.
Oh, no.
It's got above its kind of big seller that it had at 168. A lot of members in YouTube are mentioning it. My only concern right now with AMD is on the higher time frame. It's at a 200 moving average right here at 171-ish. Is where on the 60-minute chart that it could struggle with for a while.
Yeah, I don't have my moving average. Is this on the daily chart, Mike?
60-minute.
60-minute. Okay, so let's...
Yeah, so I can bring it over. I got a screen there.
White chart with all studies. If I put them in here, let's see, on a 60-minute chart. Oh yeah, Mike's got a screen now. Let's see if I can put Mike's screen
I got
there. There's Mike's screen.
Yeah, so you can see right here on the 60, and it just came up here and is touching it right here. So that's my only concern with AMD right now. If you want to take this long, you really want to see some volume start coming in as it approaches that 171 level. So, but it is strong, and it does have, even here on Bookmap, you can see there's some orders at 171, 170, 160, 172. So there is the possibility that it.
There you go. And then you can see Bookmap.
Yeah.
So
you definitely want to pay attention to volume though going into that break. If you don't get a good volume set up, I'd be very cautious taking it long.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if you look on the 1 minute right now, you can see these spikes in selling volume. Like the buying volume is not as high as our selling volume.
Right.
So yeah. So just be cautious with it. So
I want to bring in
AMD could not get back green.
There it is.
80 on Nvidia.
All right. Now I got a screen with a thing with your screen and us. So there you go. I can do that.
All right. There we go.
If we need. So yeah, there's the book map, as you can see, guys. It's
yeah.
Lots
and these
of,
two green dots here, right? That means they're buying up there, but they can't push the price higher. So there's not enough to get through all these sellers that are just stacking here. Could later though. It could be a good one later.
Let's see what it does. All right, well, let's watch the chart, see where AMD goes. We've got Nvidia that is continuing on its merry way here.
And Nvidia just could not get above the previous day close, and 180's got some orders at it.
Yeah. Might have been a good reshort when it bounced off of VWAP here. It hasn't gone that far from there, but it's about $1 move. So I not actively, well, I wasn't looking at it at the time to trade. We were busy
There we go.
looking at all sorts of things, but there's a lot to look at this morning, guys. So this is, hey, look, compared to a lot of days where we've had nothing to look at. I mean, yesterday John and I were talking about everything other than trading because the markets were so bad. Today we've got a glut of things, right? From Regetti to Snowflake to CrowdStrike to Coreweave to obviously the AMDs and Teslas, or Nvidia, sorry. So yeah, lots of good things to stare at today.
Yeah. Let me take a look at Tesla banner over on YouTube. Mentioned it. What's Tesla doing right now?
Yeah, not
Kind
that
of
much.
found previous day close. Not much though.
Yeah, it's back at VWAP here. Just hanging out.
It's got to
VWAP, by
make
the
up
way,
its mind.
don't be afraid to ask questions. I know sometimes we use terms. I just caught myself. Of course, I say VWAP all the time. Volume weighted average price on every one of my charts. It's always a darker blue line. That's an important level because traditionally, I'll say, that's one that Wall Street has used to determine what the fair price is. It's usually an intraday measure. Now it's been extended so people use it after, use it sort of across multiple days on a multi-day chart. It's really supposed to be, again, intraday within a day, well, at least traditionally. So that's all I use it for. But it's a good indication of, again, what, I find that the price sort of will coil around the VWAP a lot or bounce off of it quite a number of times. So it's probably the most important line on my chart, which is why I always keep it there to use.
Yeah.
And I know some people
Do we have
don't
any
use
new?
it, and I think they're crazy.
Do we have any news at 10 o'clock today?
Well, let's see here. We can go back and take a look at what we have here. The only thing we had is the pending home sales, which is not expected to be that big of a number. So we'll see. 0.4% contraction in home sales is the expectation. Now, that being said, even if numbers aren't expected to deliver a lot, if they're significantly off the forecast, that's when we can see a market reaction.
Yeah.
But yeah, home sales not usually a big one.
Yep. Definitely not. But
I'll let you know. Now
snow.
Mike's pointed that out. I'll let you know when that happens, when that comes out.
Yeah, I turned Benzinga on. There we go. Oh. There we go. Benzinga just told me 10 o'clock. Pending home sales.
There you go.
So
Now, Mike, did you have a chance to look up details on Nvidia's earnings? The thing that I could not find this morning reliably was what leather coat did the CEO, Jensen Huang, wear? Because we joked that the shinier the coat, the better their results. And being that their results were okay but not great, I'm expecting to have worn a leather coat that wasn't all that shiny. But I can't find definitively what he actually wore yesterday.
Yep. I can't either.
Okay.
Ooh, look at snow. Snow had earnings yesterday, didn't it?
They did, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's why they're gapping up. So
yeah, they had a big gap. If you look at them here on overnight, they had this big gap. And again, Jared had called this expected move to 222. And I was very impressed because it actually moved right there, paused, and then moved higher, came back and retested it, and then has stayed above it pretty much all night. So, yeah, it's a good move here on Snowflake, and it's up above the expectations, which means that the options are going to be out of sync, which gives it another, a good chance for a move higher. So, it's taking advantage of that so far this morning. Yeah,
I see. Yeah, a lot of people in YouTube right now are trading it. It looks like it looks good. I even looking in the past, I would have had a difficult time trading it. I hate the 200 moving average. Like if I'm going to take some long, I despise trading into that. I've been punched in the face so many times by taking a stock long and it hits that level and just rejects that. I have conceded to the trading market that I will not trade into that level. I will trade off of it meaning that if it breaks through and comes back and finds support on it, I'll look at taking it long, but nope, not
But
trading into it.
are you talking on Snowflake?
Yeah, I was
But
just looking because people were trading it on the 1 minute. I don't like it. Like I wouldn't have found it.
The 200 moving average is well below the price, isn't it?
Oh, well, yeah, currently, but I was looking at the morning because everybody said
Okay.
we missed it and it was looking good in the morning.
Right.
What's that? Oh, Nvidia. Nvidia is actually finding where it had a previous buyer right now, so might be a spot for you reversal traders at low day to see if you can find a setup. But no, I was just looking in the past at like 935,
Yeah, yeah.
936
Let me do
to
this for you
see
guys. I'm gonna
if I
add.
liked it.
Let me add because I often play with the moving average. So if we add, let's just do it right here. We're gonna add a 200 moving average. I usually make it a simple moving average. For me,
Yeah.
it's always an orange line. So I need an orange line. Otherwise, it'll mess with my head. Anyways, but you can see when I add it in here, where'd it go? What did I do wrong?
I need to see you on YouTube.
Oh, simple.
What'd you do, Peter?
I don't know. Moving average of the, why didn't it show up? Because it should be coming right through the middle here of the price action. I've got a different chart where if I load a chart here with all of my studies, you can see it's this orange line that comes right through the price action. I see what Mike is saying because it cuts right through the middle here. Clearly, I set that up wrong. So, see, these are the charts that I look at on my own when I'm not showing you guys. See how messy that looks? Because I know that we have so many moderators and people that that ask for different things.
Yeah.
I've got to be able to point them out. So I watch this, which is like, again, just way too busy for broadcast because you would look at this and go, "What is wrong?"
Oh yeah.
I don't use most of the stuff on here, but I've been trading long enough that I can trade and ignore it, right? Ignore pretty much all of it and just look at the candles. But so that's why when I display it, I really just try and keep it simple, and I show you a chart that looks more like this because it's just so much cleaner. In any event.
Yeah. But yeah, that 200, I wouldn't have liked that. That would have gotten me.
So fair enough.
But
okay.
For those that took it early, very good trade, especially off of S3.
Yeah, it worked.
It's a nice.
And yeah, it really bounced right off of that S3 level. I can see it was down at 217.96 is where I have it. And what is the low of this candle? 1809. So like that's within 20 cents, 15 cents really of that that, which with the spread being 14 cents right now, or 14 to 30 cents as I'm looking at it, that basically is touching the S3. Like it hit it. In Tesla, what's going on with Tesla? Banner saying Tesla is drunk. Yeah, you're drunk, Tesla. Go home. Look,
I like that banner.
There's a lot of stuff that's moving. Tesla is not one of those that is moving. And I said, I like Tesla. I watch it most days, but it doesn't mean it moves every single day. Today is definitely an example of a day where, it is not doing very well. That being said, while I've been distracted here, oh my goodness, look at Nvidia. It's definitely sold off. So that short at VWAP that I was talking about would have been awesome. And it's moved out the bottom end of my boxes. So this means that we've got some room to run here. Yeah. This thing could actually go lower.
It could.
Should have been paying more attention. I could have got a short on it. But anyways, coulda, shoulda, woulda. I'm still actually happy, guys, with my open trade on Nvidia. I said it wasn't a huge trade, but
so am I.
Yeah, there you go. See.
I'll take a $3 move any day of the week.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, right? Like sometimes it doesn't have to move a lot. Doesn't have to move a lot for you to get a good. I mean, I didn't quite get $3 on my trade, but still, I'll take 250.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you joined Jared during the pre-market, he was talking about averages, right? Some days you have low days, some days you have bigger days that you win, but on average over a week, you want to find a consistency. And days like this are the days that you have to enjoy, right? Because these are the days that make up for your bad days. Like I think I didn't trade yesterday, but Tuesday I traded. And I got on at the close with you, Peter, right? And I said,
Yep.
yep, I'm done trading. I took 3 swings, missed all 3 of them, and I was done for the day, right? And I think it was within the first 15 minutes. This one trade wiped out all those losses and gave me more. And that's what you have to do to become a consistent trader, right? You have to be able to minimize your losses, understand that some days either you or the market isn't working with the strategy. And the more you try to fight it, the more that you try to force it, the more that you try to make it bend to your will, the more money you're going to lose. So just quit. Go grab coffee.
Trade your rules, and you got to avoid the emotions that come with, missing opportunities, or, do what you can, try and stick to your rules. And as somebody in the chat room just posted, I have always loved this, you got to trade with no regrets.
No regrets. I love that.
Google
is moving towards the high of day right now on lower volume, so be cautious with that. But it's pushing to the all-time high as well.
Which one, sorry?
Google.
Oh, yes. People had mentioned Google earlier. We were looking at it. Good solid move up here. A little bit of a retracement. Yeah, I can see it. 210. What is we marked the all-time high there.
210.29.
210.52 is what I have for the spike all-time high.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. And Google, I have on the 60-minute. This is kind of the area that it sold off for the past couple days. You can kind of see.
You got here? Put Mike's chart up.
You can see that it sold off back on the 25th, stayed down below, and now it's pushing back up there. So this could definitely be an area that if it can't get through that all-time high again, we can end up going back to the bottom of the box.
Right.
Or Megan's famous box, right?
Megan's boxes. Yeah, that's they help understand price levels, so they're good to use.
Yeah. Know where the big sellers and the big buyers are, and you can see here's where a seller was, and then you can see where all the buyers are here at 205. And right now, really, this 207, people have been buying here at 207. So, look, map. It's definitely to the top side. I mean, there's orders on Google to the top side. So, if it can get through this, could be good.
Yeah. The market overall, if we look at the Qs right now, they are sort of bouncing here after hitting a low, going red briefly. We're now back in the green. So the SPY looks very similar. It's just not quite green yet. So it's just a little bit lower compared to yesterday's close. So yeah, I think after the initial excitement, it feels like we've calmed down pretty quickly. Look, and I missed it here at 10 o'clock. The economic data did come out, by the way. Pending home sales, right at target. The expectation was negative 0.4%. That's exactly what the number was for July. So this is the month-over-month home sales for the month of July. Came out at negative 4%. So really no surprises on the earnings there. And it's no surprise. The market has really chosen to completely ignore that number. So there you go.
Yeah. So somebody asked how SoFi is doing out on YouTube.
SoFi.
Hyperwriter. So I just pulled it up. It's
Okay.
near the high of day. R4 level book map's pretty balanced on it. So I don't really see a setup for me. Um, but it has found support really around 25. So that's kind of your level that I would be trading off of. It's far away. You're
Uh,
getting a little bit of volume though here at the high, which is a little bit. Yeah, it'd be a tough trade, even for a high a day for me.
yeah.
And even for a short too would be difficult. I'd want to see if I was looking to trade this, I would want to see it find support at R4, which is 25.57. So even 25.50-ish. I'd want to see support and then a run back up with wherever it establishes a new high before it retests. So
Yeah, SoFi is an interesting one, but probably not for right now. Because if I look at the weekly here,
yeah.
it's got a very strange profile, right? Because it went public in 2020, did the big move up, and you can see how it had these sort of three towered spikes here. We're back up into this range with the recent price action, right? 4 years later, but there's not a lot of shares trader. We know that it hit some highs that I've happened to have marked on my chart. I clearly had done a while back. So to me, for it to go higher, it basically has to break through to a new all-time high. Otherwise, it could just get choppy here. Like it's tough to guess or predict where it's going to go for me. So yeah.
Anybody
It,
take a short on Google out there?
oh, Google.
Anybody? It's too late for me to take a short now, but it tested the all-time high three
Wow,
times.
yeah, it did. Look at that, right to it, within a
Yeah.
couple of pennies here. So definitely tested that all-time high. We'll see what it does here now. This is so these all-time high levels. Brian always says never short a strong stock. I've never been afraid of that. I love shorting anything, and the stronger it is, the more I like to short it. I get burned sometimes on that, right? Like it doesn't always work out for me, but it's what I like to do. So
So you're long. If you're already in Google and you're long, that
yeah,
you're
that's
in a good spot to be
yeah,
long
yeah. If you're
in
sitting
Google
long in
right
this
now.
and you're at least what you got in, I would say at least 50 cents ago, better a dollar or more ago,
Yeah.
then yeah, why not? Just wait and see what it does. It could very well move higher.
Yeah.
It's tough to tell right now.
So I mean, it could definitely break through and go. I'm not saying that it's not. I I like stocks that test levels. Yep, here we go.
Yeah, there it is. Right through that high.
Go right through up to 211. Look at good old Google. SoFi
Everything's
went
my
too. Nice. What?
got all the
Remember?
when we went to when we did that marathon together, I got all of
Oh
these like
yes.
little buttons. They gave us a whole like in our little gift
Yeah, the
bag.
whole bag.
They
Yep.
gave us like this whole bag of these little buttons, and I didn't know what to do with them. So I've put them all on they're all here on the arm of my microphone. See that? Just hanging out. Uh,
Just hanging out. There
just
you go.
hanging out, slowly magnetizing the arm of my boom mic here. I just reminds me of the fact that I actually did a marathon once in my life,
And
and never
once
again,
only.
and once only. Correct. Mike and I both swore at the end of that. Glad we did it. Glad it's done.
Yeah.
In
We
equal
said half
measure.
marathons.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
okay. That's totally different
Half
animal.
marathon,
Yeah,
no problem. Marathon, no thank you.
yeah. We
So,
did it.
and
Across.
by the way, I'm doing a half with my son. My son's doing the marathon. I'm doing the half in
Yeah, it's coming up
Indianapolis.
like
Yeah.
in a week or No.
No,
What
a
are you doing?
couple weeks or a couple months, November. So
Oh,
I was
November.
going to run a half a marathon this
Right.
weekend,
Yeah, the long weekend,
but
I thought.
yeah, I was going to do it then. But then my son's like, hey, I want to run a marathon. And he picked Indianapolis. So when I looked at it, doing a half a marathon this weekend, recovering from that, and then prepping to get ready for it again, I was like, no, I'll just prep for that one.
Okay.
So
There you
I'm
go.
just going to do that. Plus, the Kansas City one really isn't that big. There's only like 200 runners.
Oh, that's yeah,
So,
that's very small. Very
yeah.
modest.
I think
All right.
it's more like a local run half marathon or something that it was going on. So, at
Well,
least
if
the
we keep
Indianapolis one is big and we'll go through monuments and all this stuff. And I'll make the left turn at the half marathon mark and he'll continue on. And I'll be like, see you in a couple hours. So,
So Ivan, good question. What's the setup I'm looking for short on Google? If I was to take a short on Google, I need to see two things. I'd want to see a rapid price movement to a new all-time high combined with a whole lot of volume. So see how these volume candles are all pretty flat?
yep.
The biggest one other than the open candle is this one here, which has got 199, so let's call it 200,000 shares. So the only way I would take a short on Google right now is I would want to see a candle that's at least the size of this one at 10:06 or bigger, meaning in terms of price action, I need to see at least 40 cents or so in movement, combined with more than 200,000 shares in the minute. So I need a big volume candle, a big price push. Then if I see hesitation and not a lot of orders on the level 2, on the ask, that would tell me that maybe it's sort of exhausted that buying volume. Then I could take it short. So I guess there's three things: price push, volume,
Yeah.
no big orders on the ask on the level 2. So if all three of those things happen, then it's a potential short. In absence of that, I don't have a play, right? Because that's what my setup dictates. I know that's what gives me the highest probability of success. So, yeah, that's what I usually look for, especially when we're at these all-time highs. They can be great for shorts because you can get a lot of move lower. But I've learned, like, look at right now. See these candles? See, we've got what I call these spinning top doji
you got
that
my
happened in the
book
last
map
minute.
up, Peter.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, so see how we've got a spinning top doji on this, right, in that last minute? I used to say, oh my God, look at that. That's uncertainty. But it's not enough uncertainty because there's no volume behind that, right? So I don't know. Like it does mean in that minute, the stock didn't know whether to go higher or lower. It closed at the same price it opened at. But look what it's doing, right? It's just edging slowly higher. So, I wouldn't take it. Same thing, look, 2 minutes earlier, it did a sort of a spinning top. But if I go back, I can see a number of instances where Google would have done this and it didn't actually signal directional change. So that's why I now need it like that. So after a push higher, if we got a push higher in volume and then that was the next minute chart, I am absolutely going short on it. But I don't have that combination of stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
Orange is asking, what does AMD bookmap looks like if you want to swap over for a second and then back to your chart. I got AMD up there for you. So got some orders to the top side, downside some orders, and now it's kind of sitting there. I think AMD, I've set an alert for AMD. If we can get a run back up to 171 later in the afternoon, it might be a very, very good runner. But right now it looks like it needs to go find some more buyers before it can get through those sellers at 171.
It's just sitting mid-range here, isn't it? No big orders anywhere near the immediate price. I see a question. Well, we got lots of questions going on here. Where was it? Verdi006, you're saying, can we short Snow at 240? Look, you can do whatever you want. I mean, can you? Sure, go for it. I don't know. But I'm not going to advise you do that. again, like right now, snow's moving towards a high. I already described what I'd be looking for in a strong moving stock like this, right? For me to even consider a short, three things that I just mentioned: volume, rapid price action, no orders on the ask to the top side. Again, combine that with that spinning top doji candle after the move higher, right? Then maybe, right? So that would be the combination I'd be looking for. Um, but it's we have to wait and see. We haven't got to 240 yet, right? Just have to see what snow would do. But that's my view. And even then, sometimes I look at it and I just sometimes it's gut feel. I'm like, this either feels good or it doesn't feel good. More often than not, it doesn't feel good, and I don't take it. Sometimes I'm right, sometimes I'm wrong. All right, PLTR. You guys are asking about. A number of you are asking about PLTR. Yeah, PLTR. I don't. It doesn't seem to be doing anything special today to me. I mean, it did do this spike lower here. I just don't see how I would have been able to predict. It didn't give me enough data to really be able to forecast these moves and have taken it. The only potential opportunity would have been here, where it came back in sort of the VWAP in the previous day close, where it rejected that. You might have taken a short, but realistically, you would have gone in maybe at 156, which means you'd have to have almost a whole dollar stop, which means you'd need a $2 move. You would have got it, but that would have been a tough call for me, because you would need to go like a full $1.50 below the low of day at that point. So yeah. Anyways, that would be my analysis. I wasn't watching it to have taken that trade. I probably wouldn't have, even if I had been. But that would have been the only time I would have considered a trade.
Yeah.
Shorting such a strong stock is suicide. I do it all the time. I'll be honest, right? I really do. It's one of my core trade strategies. But that's why my rules are so specific. Because you're right, it can be suicide. If you try and do it consistently, more often than not, you're going to get hurt. Because either it's just going to move sideways at those highs, or it's going to keep going higher. They call it catching a falling knife when you're trying to trade a stock long after a big drop, because you can cut yourself, right? You grab the knife at the wrong part and you get cut and it hurts. I don't know what the inverse statement would be, but it's basically the same premise. It is dangerous. That's why you need very specific rules that you follow consistently.
Yeah.
Geralt of Rivia. I like that you're here every day, Geralt. Coins
yes.
for the Witcher. Anyways, my daughter.
I'm so
gave
glad
me
that you know that as well, Peter.
My daughter gave me a birthday card once where she had actually sung that for me and recorded it in one of those self-recording cards. It was awesome. I have the little voice thing around here somewhere, but I think the battery's died, so it doesn't work anymore. I'll have to play it. Anyways, you're asking a real question though. Is the reversal around 10 a.m. is that a good setup? Again, not enough for me. Here's the problem. It sort of looks good in hindsight, right? If you went long off of the low here, I mean, hey, you say you could have gone long and you got a $2 move, but there wasn't enough of a setup for me, right? It really just sort of hit a random space. I don't have a level right there. It didn't get any volume spike. It didn't do any big price action. Like, there was no particular reason for me to believe that was going to be the reversal point. It's easy in hindsight to look at something and say, oh, yeah, right? Like, real simple to have done that. But I try and be honest with myself. The reality is, no, it wouldn't have given me any signals for me. So that's my answer. All right, snow to 250.
I don't see much.
Calling snow to 250, eh? Well, it just hit that 240 we were talking about. So remember what I was talking about? What I would need, right? Rapid price action, volume. So it got a little bit of volume. Probably not enough to signal for me. It did hit through a full whole dollar level, which is another nice thing I like to look for. Yeah, it's not enough for me. Still looks like it wants to hang out at this Relatively high price. What's the spread? That's the other thing you need to look at. What's the spread on these stocks? And the spread is the difference between the bid and ask price. And that's important because the spread shows you basically lose the spread when you enter a trade, right? As soon as you enter a trade, you're going to be down negative that amount of money. And the spread here on Snowflake is between 30 and 50 cents. So yeah, that's tough because that means you have to overcome that. It has to move at least that amount just for you to get back to break even. That being said, this stock is up $40 today, 20%. So look at it. Yeah, see, this is why I wouldn't have shorted it. Not enough of a signal yet.
Yeah.
Tyler, you think you would have taken a 1 minute ORB? Yeah, you mean you could have. Snow looks good on that. It also looks good even if you look at a 5 minute here. If you were watching at a 5 minute chart, look at this, right? As it broke through here, this would have been a good time to potentially go long. It showed a lot of strength on the 5 minute ORB type play. I wasn't actively watching it closely enough to do that, and frankly, it's not one of my core strategies. So, but yes, but these are the things that are good to look at in hindsight, right? So what would I have looked for, right? What are the signals that existed? And again, don't project your hope based on what you know the stock did, because what you want to do is be able to do this repeatably, right? And it's not always going to look like this. So what are the signals that you could say I could take this trade with a high degree of certainty it's going to work in my favor? And that's what we spend a lot of time teaching, frankly, at the Bear Bulls community and at Peak Capital, which is the boot camp. Mike and I have spent a lot of time building courses, Mike especially, right, about how do you identify these types of things? How do you find signals that are meaningful to you that you can trade in a repeatable and reliable fashion? It almost doesn't matter what your strategy is as much as it matters whether you can trade the same thing over and over and over again. I always joke, I don't care if you trade using zodiac signs or phases of the moon or whatever. As long as you do the exact same thing all the time, you could probably build a strategy around it that may, that could be a winning one. The trick is consistently trading it. And you think that would be easy, right? Just do what you said you're going to do. Write down a set of rules and they execute them. You'd be amazed how few people can actually do that. It is a lot tougher than you'd think, especially if you make up the rules, because it's very tempting for you to say, well, I made them up, I can break them, right? I'm changing my mind. I see something better. You usually outsmart yourself, right? In the moment, you think you're smarter than you were when you created the strategy. And then what you're really doing is you're just being inconsistent then, right? You're really just randomly placing bets now. You're not trading with purpose.
So, Joy, the answer to your question kind of goes with what Peter's saying. How do you know when to sell? You know when to sell when you've traded a strategy consistently over time. And over time, you understand where the best place to take partials and get all out on a trade. So can I tell you the best place to get out of snow right now? Not really. I could say that 240 is probably looking like a spot that you may want to take some off of because it may pull back from here, but it may continue through. But, oh, sorry. I got Benzinga that's really annoying me right now. Just talking like, I like Benzinga when they're short 1 sentence bursts. But if you're going to talk to me with a paragraph, just post it. That's not breaking news. Like, don't give me a paragraph long talk. So you got to track it, right? You got to have a consistent plan that you say, hey, this is my hypothesis of where I think I will make the most money. And you collect data over a series of trades. When you collect 20, you can then analyze it again and say, I sucked in that, or I did really good, or this is how I can improve. And then you change the plan a little bit. Then you collect more data on it, and over and over and over. That's why trading, it truly is a profession that you have to spend time and dedication in. And I like to say traders that spend that time and that dedication are the ones that are going to have success in the long term. The ones that kind of come in with a plan and continuously change it and hope for the big wins quick tend to see their accounts dwindle very quickly as well and scatter off into the bushes. Like, trading's not for me. Like, yeah.
Yeah. You can
I
burn
mean,
out
it's
fast.
yeah, it's awesome to make 5 grand in a trade. That's cool. And then you think you can redo it over and over and over, and then you end up losing 25, 30,000 over the course of a couple months. That's painful. So
Tesla's moving to a low here right now. And Armin, it's sometimes we got multiple questions to answer. So you were asking, are we live?
yeah.
We're live. I mean, you can give us a test, make us say something. I could prove it to you, but
Yeah.
we are live here anyways.
So AMD, if you pull up AMD, or here, let me pull over this 60-minute chart on
Sure.
AMD, Peter, if you can.
Yeah.
This is what's so important about higher levels. And I'll give a shout out to Megan. I really watched one of her trading terminal webinars. It was one of the first ones that she did. And she really highlighted big buyers and big sellers. And it really made sense to me. And I started actually identifying these areas. And you can see, right, this green line here is big buyers, right? You can see buying here, you can see buying here, and then the selling back to them. And they're like, nope, thanks for coming back to me. I'm going to buy it up again, right? But the same happens with the sellers, right? And now today, look at where we're playing. We're playing right around that 168. Shot up to 171, hit that 200, back down. And then if we go to a 1-minute chart, you can see that it's just playing around with this number. There is a seller there that's saying, I still have more shares. So if you want to go higher than me, you're going to have to find some buyers to get this thing back up there. So pay very close attention to this level. It may play relevance today. It may not, but you definitely are going to want to see if it can hold above this 168 in order for AMD to continue back higher. Otherwise, I think we'll just continue to play in this range between 162 and 168. So.
Just a reminder, everybody, we still have our charitable donations going for children's cancer. You can see the link down at the bottom right, just below the video. It's all funds go directly to it. We're just doing this, to give back to the community, and we're seem to be stuck here at about 2/3 of our goal. So with this ends at the end of the week, so we'd love if you could help us out. I mean, it's been great so far. People have been very generous. We've already a little over $2,000 donated of the $3,000 goal that we had. So really, really appreciate that. And if you feel like you want to contribute, then we'd love to see it. So thank you for considering it. And if you want to give a free donation of a thumb, click the thumbs up button. That's also appreciated. But I'd rather you donate to the charity. That's okay, Suzanne. It's I've got the same problem. This is U.S. based here, so So, Sean, you're asking what the risk is for each trade. And so let me go to the end part of your question. Is it a percentage of your account? I am strongly against using a percentage of your account to determine your trade size, just because I know a lot that was talked about a lot. A lot of people use that as just a common rule of thumb. You can use it to get an estimate of what a trade size could be. I do not recommend you use it for active trading personally, because theoretically, if you use that as a rule of thumb, then if you use that as an exact amount, in theory, your actual trade size would be different on every single trade as your account size changed. right? And that means you're not going to get consistency. The other thing is it may not be the right size for you. My recommendation is you trade a size that is meaningful for you, right? That allows you to trade with maturity, but not so big that it causes you to change your whatever your natural behavior is. And I don't care if that amount is $5 or $500 per trade. Personally, I like a fixed risk model. I started at about $20 a trade. And I slowly migrated up from $20 risk per trade, like that was my max risk, to about 200, which is where I sit now, $200 risk per trade. And I could, in fact, I probably arguably should years ago have gone higher. But what's happened is when I tried to move that higher, it affected my mentality. In theory, I should, if I can trade $200 risk, I can trade $500 risk, right? It's not that my account can't support it; it's that my psychology can't support it, right? Because as soon as I see a loss that sits around $300, which is still within my range of the $500 risk, my brain goes, it's over 200. What are you doing? You need to get out. But the opposite happens when I have winners. I don't hold them long enough. I already have a problem partialing too early. So what I've decided to do is I'm going to stick myself at $200 risk fixed until I can space my partials farther out. And frankly, that's been a lot longer journey than I thought it would be. I still like to partial too early, because when you partial early, it actually reduces your total earning potential on the trade, right? Instead of holding that size for the bigger move, you take a lot off early, and then of course you don't have as many shares left. So right now I have always traded fixed risk, right? So a fixed dollar amount. I'm at $200 risk. That's just me, and that's my philosophy. You can trade what you would like to. What I recommend is whatever you choose to do, just make sure, like I said, it's a size that is meaningful to you, that allows you to trade naturally without being anxious about the loss. Right? So, and if you reverse engineer that, I mean, I don't know what $200, if you're going to say, well, like some people say 1% of your account or 0.1% of your account per trade, 1% per day, something like that. I mean, then you got to reverse engineer the $200 upwards. But I don't really worry about that. Like I take money in and out of my account, and that percentage, fluctuates all the time. It's $200 risk all the time because that's meaningful to me. Right?
Yeah.
So why do I partial? It's a good question, James. I'll tell you why. So you're right, Thor doesn't. And Thor arguably, well, not arguably, Thor is probably a more mature trader than I am. I'll readily admit that. And he started after I did, which is annoying. But anyways, but he's a more mature trader because he sets a level and he just waits for it. And that can be very good to do because he knows what he's looking for. He's got sort of a fixed return off of his risk measure. The reason why I take partials is to settle my psychology. Because if I take partials, I put money in the bank and I sort of guarantee a win. That's why I do it. Now, I also do it because as I look at my trade, I've got technical levels I'm thinking where it could bounce at. So I try and take my partials at those technical levels. Mike, what's your thoughts on this?
The thought that I would have is you have to understand where Thor came from, because Thor, when he first began trading, could not hold like he does now. He took a lot of partials, and he developed over time through the process of analyzing his trades, collecting data, trading a system over and over, and reviewing those trades, that he built the confidence with saying, you know what, I can make more money if I don't partial and I just hold to this level, because look at what my trading results tell me. My trading results tell me that I can hold to this level. And that's what built Thor's confidence. So how did he do that? He did that because he took winners early and slowly built his confidence to be able to do what he's doing now. And as a new trader, you have to remember that he makes it look easy because he's experienced and been doing it for years. Right. Now, as a new trader, you got to be able to absorb some of those wins, because I'll tell you, as a new trader, do you really want to take 7 losses to 3 wins, even though those 3 wins may wipe out all those 7 losses? It's going to be painful for you in turn. So you got to build some. some consistency through winning. So I always say, let your trading dictate where to take partials. And those partials, like Peter was just talking about, help calm your emotions. And that's an element of trading that you have to take into consideration because emotions will play with you. Yeah. So.
And I've watched Thor. Thor does some amazing things. Like I've got AMD's
Yeah.
chart up here because it's a good example. So imagine if you said, I'm going to go short up here at AMD, and you go short somewhere where my cursor is right now. And let's just, for argument's sake, say it's $170.50 with a stop over the high of day. So, Thor's strategy would be he would go short, and he said, let's say his target is the previous day close, which is all the way down here at 167. That would give him about a $3 move, a little over a $3 move, which would be great. He would say, I'm just going short, and it's all or nothing, right? His stop is high of day. He's just going to go short. But you've got to think through, can you emotionally, hold this thing? If it goes all the way down here to this, what is a level, right? Pre-market, and it bounces and comes all the way back up, and you'd be almost $2 to the good. It comes all the way back up, puts you slightly in the red before making the move. Thor does that consistently. I admire him for it. Me, no way in heck. Yeah. I just couldn't do it, right? I couldn't be $2 to the good, watch the price hit this level that I see as currently a pre-market level of support, and have it all the way bounce back up and come red. I would partial down here and stop out at break even. Definitely not as mature or good a trade as Thor would get if he theoretically, again, went in and went all out. But I also understand the corollary to this, which would be Thor would have a number of situations where the stock would come down and then go out and stop him out for a full loss, which means the percentage of his wins would go down slightly or maybe significantly, depending on the trade setup. But net, it's still more profitable, but you've got to have the intestinal fortitude to stick through the increased number of losses so that you can hold for the wins. The worst thing you can do is what I did a couple of times, which is you get the worst of all worlds, right? Which means that I'm going to get more losses because I'm going to wait, and it stops me out, And finally, when you get that big trade, you get nervous, and then you take partials early, which erodes the win percentage. So my wins become smaller, but my losses become more frequent. And then suddenly I'm making less money than I did previously. So again, it's not right or wrong. Yeah. Thor is absolutely... It's a better model overall. I have stats on my own trading that tells me if I just waited for a big target, I would make more money net, but my win percentage would drop significantly. And that's where I've realized it makes me more anxious. I don't have as much fun trading. So you've got to factor all that stuff in. It's crazy, isn't it? Like you'd think, take the motion out of it. Just be robotic. Easier said than done. So, but good questions, guys.
Yep.
Yeah. I hear an echo. Why do I hear an echo? Somebody's here.
Like Thor is
that Brian?
Somebody's here. The only way I could trade like Thor is if I got into the trade and put a range order. Stop, partial, shut the screen off, go do something, and come back at the end of the day and see what happened.
There you go. Guys, we were just talking theory. We were getting a lot of good questions about sort of trading theory and how to manage things. We're back with our friends in the chat room. So hello, Bear Bullers. We're here. I see Philip Urban. You're asking where's Andrew? Have you not been here for the last couple of days?
Yeah. Where have you been?
He's in the middle.
The question is, where have you been?
Yeah. He's at Burning Man. Anyways, we've been talking about him the last few days because we hope he's safe. We heard that there's big windstorms out there in the desert, which means you get lots of blowing sand and stuff. But anyways, yeah, he's at Burning Man. Something he loves to do, his annual pilgrimage out there, and he swears it's a good time. I'm not convinced.
It's the desert. I've spent
Andrew be Andrewing. Gary, I like that. Yeah, absolutely. Andrew's Andrewing.
There you go.
Yeah.
Andrew be Andrewing.
So
he's you know what? Look, he climbs mountains. I say this all the time, like for him, joy is being at minus 40 degrees Fahrenheit or Celsius. Put your, minus 40 degrees, barely able to breathe because the oxygen is thin. That's a good time for him. Now, the view I can only imagine is got to be absolutely stunning. Is it worth it? you know, we've made different value propositions on that. So Andrew says yes. I've said no.
Yeah.
I guess the bad weather continues, eh?
Does it? I
Yeah,
haven't heard any updated news.
yeah. Well,
Oh,
apparently a day
Burning
ago
Man?
they had to close
Yeah.
they had to close the gate due to rain and thunder.
Oh wow!
I don't think I'd want to be out on the playa when there was a thunderstorm going on, because
Wow!
No,
if you're standing up, you
definitely
were
not.
probably the highest thing on that playa.
Yeah, I could only imagine that would be pretty. It'd be pretty brutal out there. Can you imagine? First, you get pelted with dust and everything in the windstorm, and then the rain hits and turns it all to mud. So now you'd literally be covered in mud, even if you didn't fall down and roll in it. Oh my God! Yeah, it would be,
I don't have to imagine that, Peter. I literally lived through that, and
you don't situations like that. Why would you do it voluntarily?
exactly.
You know, see that I can
Yeah.
understand. That makes sense to me. I'm not even getting paid.
You
At
just
least
do
then
it.
you were getting paid.
I know. Oh man, I'm just laughing so hard because it's bringing back those memories of just that grime and grit and sticky mud and oh god, no.
Indeed. Brian,
Not
how
for
was your
me.
trading morning? How did things go for you?
No, mine was. I had a good morning. I traded Tesla short with Thor, and we got
Okay.
a good move on that. I traded and when it started to roll over there, so didn't seem like it was a great
Well, that's true because you never know when
Yeah.
the day is going to
920 trade. We've had a
be right.
really nice long sell-off here. Let's see if we can get back up to that 20 EMA, which is about 347. I don't know if it's going to make it.
Okay. Yeah, and you use a 2-minute chart, right, for that?
Yes,
Yeah.
second moving average.
Say test. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do.
Qs and spot.
Google's still hovering over all-time highs right now. It's just
Mm. Yeah, Google's sitting up there, and the other one we were talking about, Snowflake. See how it's hanging out here towards these highs that it set when it poked through 240, so it hasn't really gone anywhere in the last little bit. I like Google here, though. Fortunately,
Peter?
Google has a habit of just settling into a range about this time of day and not doing much of interest.
Yeah.
The volume's been like just slowly dropping, right? Just going a little bit lower and lower every couple minutes here. See it on a 5-minute chart a little more clearly how you can almost draw a downward trend on the volume.
Yeah.
So,
See what it wants to do.
Okay.
Level 2 on it. It's
I did-
got orders just sitting there at 231.
Apple's
quite
one
get
that I've
through
been
'em yet.
watching for years, Mike, that when I look at Apple, it has way like normally you can count on, when you see like, it's only it's like 10 cents, 5 cents away from 231. You're like, surely it's going to go get those orders that are sitting.
went
But
through
I've
'em.
watched this
Look at
thing
that.
for years, and it can be very annoying that way.
Yeah,
It's got
Pierre,
another stack up
trading.
at 232 as well. This would be, man,
Get a little bit higher.
Peter, you notice
If I
the
did-
stream is getting choppy.
Yeah. So I apologize to everybody who's on YouTube. The stream is getting choppy, so this is like my worst case scenario. I've got 3 people on. I'm streaming both to the chat room and to YouTube, and basically my computer resources are so. You know what? I've got a pretty good computer here.
Into the chat room.
I got a pretty good computer here, but it's
I have found
the streaming is like it is a resource hog, man.
yeah. Yeah. I think yeah, the chat room stream, the way it's configured, I think takes a lot of resources.
Yeah. Yeah, Andrew said I'll buy you a new computer. Unfortunately, it wouldn't be delivered until after, Carlos's vacation is over, so it wasn't going to help us. It'll get better in a moment
because you're going to have to do this. You're going to have to cover it for Carlos through PCT now. So
oh my. Well, then
Yeah, now that you've proved your mettle.
Oh well. Well, we'll see when he gets back if he's eager to spend $8,000 on a computer for me. So that's pretty much what I priced it.
There you go.
That's
expensive.
Re-Ring is saying that the screen it's bad. It's bad. It's so bad it's not watchable. Sorry about that. I'm hoping that it wasn't all that bad. Again,
is it because you're bringing
choppy.
3 of us in? Are you bringing 3? Is it because you're bringing the 3 of us in, or?
It could be.
No,
I
it's because of the stream.
Yeah, it's more the streaming to the chat room. I think that.
Yeah.
When you
okay.
That's pretty heavy.
Yeah, streaming into the chat room, even when you're like sharing a screen, you see a spike in your CPU usage. So,
Nvidia's
because I think it's like a
making
web-based program.
Nvidia's looking a little spicy here. It looks like
yeah.
it's gone through the View app. It looks like it might be heading to yesterday's closing price. So and the Qs are making a nice move here too. We're moving back up to near high of day.
Apple is interesting.
There we go.
Gotta look at Nvidia going back up.
Yeah, it took a little bit of a long on that pullback on Nvidia. See, we're gonna see if we can keep pushing here. It's looking promising.
Google's about ready to make another high. All-time high, looks like. There we go. New all-time high.
Google.
Yeah, Google.
There we go. Watching Google.
Oh yeah, look at that. Got some volume into that push up on Google as well. Gary needs to wear a shirt.
Gary's a man after your own heart, Brian.
Naked trading.
Closing. Yeah. Why not? You're trading from home. You
naked trading.
Yeah. He just came from the Orgy Dome, I think. couldn't find his shirt. Blew away.
Can't find my clothes.
It's all wrapped up in the tent.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sean, it's the process of the streaming. The dual streaming really takes a toll on your resources.
I don't know why it's especially bad today, but some days that just happens. I reboot my machine every day, load her up, but sometimes it happens. Probably, I think I know what happens because when I'm running it alone, part of what happens too is that I have to run a lot of web browsers because I'm looking up the news, and when I look up the news, when you open web browsers for whatever reason, um,
Mm.
the browsers don't do a good job of releasing resources once you close them down. So that ends up consuming extra resources I can't get back until I reboot. All right, thanks. I'm off.
There we go.
There we go. Okay, guys, I just cut it off in the chat room. That should release some of the pressure there on my machine, and hopefully we should get a little smoother experience here on YouTube. So we do, as always, have Thor, who's going to be joining in a couple of minutes, so that'll be something to look forward to.
Oh, yes.
Mhm.
And I don't
We can
think
talk
he has
about
a
this
guest today.
Tesla trade.
Yeah, did he? Yeah, I'd be interested to see his
Yeah,
trading.
we
Like
had.
we've been talking about him.
He did do a short with Tesla. I joined him on it.
Okay,
Unfortunately, it popped back up above the VWAP, and before it really did its nice sell-off there.
right.
Again, I don't understand the enthusiasm for Tesla. I think they had their European car sale numbers come out, and they were down like 40%
Terrible.
month over month in June.
Again, wow.
Yeah, seventh month in a row, I think that the sales have been down.
Right.
And that's not the market. The market's apparently a lot of the EV sales were actually up. BYD was up a lot.
Yeah.
So I'm afraid that yeah, BYD is really kicking it.
You know, sometimes we've learned that having the best technology doesn't always guarantee you market position, and especially if you're the first mover. I mean, there's been many examples of that, right? Like I always like to go back to the VHS Betamax, if you guys remember back in the day. So I know I'm dating myself, but that's my era where Betamax was a better technology. It had better video.
Yeah,
But VHS was cheaper to produce and better marketed, and it became the standard. If you look
yeah,
now, almost everybody had VHS, right? The
Yeah.
cassette tapes. But Betamax was by far the better technology. It wasn't able to catch on. And I think Tesla, their self-driving mode and some of what they've done, I think they've got the better technology from what I understand of pretty much any electric vehicle out there. I don't know. I'm not quite sure about the battery tech, to be honest, but I've got to assume that they're probably pretty good. Blu-ray and HD video is another good example where it didn't quite catch on as much because of the cost. But anyways, yeah, Tesla's likely to just be outdone, right? At this point, it looks like that everybody now has got an electric car, and I don't know that the traditional auto manufacturers are going to fully catch up, right? I mean, I can't think of a single auto manufacturer, whether it's Honda or GM or Toyota or Volkswagen, like they've all got electric options right now. And then of course you got the pure plays, right? From the Rivians, which are a little niche, to Mike, like you were talking about in China. I mean, BYD and LI and a bunch of, like, they're ubiquitous there. Like those cars, and the Chinese government, of course, has spent literally hundreds of billions of dollars promoting the local EV industry. But
yeah,
they're starting to expand now, and yeah, it's a dangerous time
yeah.
for Tesla. So, anyways, to your overall point, Brian,
Well, it's
yeah,
Yeah.
Tesla as a stock feels like it's hanging on here, but it doesn't quite seem to warrant, based on the business model, the pricing doesn't seem to warrant it.
I think yeah, the challenge for Tesla is the price. I mean, these BYD cars are and all the Chinese cars are so much cheaper.
Hmm.
That's one of the challenges anyway.
Yeah. Well,
And I don't know,
Yep.
the BYD cars are actually I haven't seen one, but I've seen videos of them, and they're pretty impressive. There's one that actually senses potholes in the road and actually jumps over them.
Yeah, the BYD's
That's
got some really
pretty.
weird features on it where they can they've done this with the self-sensing things where
No.
they show it driving over they put speed bumps underneath low bars. They literally put
Yeah.
bars across, and the car will reduce its dynamically lower the suspension so it can duck basically under the overhang. I don't know exactly when would you use that. When are you driving through something that you need to lower the suspension on a sedan to get underneath something? But they've got the feature if you
Parking garage.
Yeah.
that would be one low parking garage.
I am still in Nvidia, just barely. I'm actually thinking we'll see if it can break out through this 180 area. But we're getting a bit of a more bid on the Qs and the SPY.
Wow. So Mehdi Ahmadi here is saying that he had a Tesla before and now has a BYD, and the BYD is better. Okay. Well, look, I haven't owned either, so
interesting, eh?
Yeah,
the
go.
BYD has some really interesting features.
They've added some interesting features. Have you seen their parallel parking technology where they can do it like a tank, where they spin the wheels in opposite directions, so you can basically crab walk directly sideways?
Yeah.
Because the wheels move in opposite directions, and anyways, it's weird.
Well, there you go. That's what you need. Anyway, I'm thinking of just I'm gonna wrap up my morning here. I'm thinking of just
absolutely
getting out of Nvidia and calling it a morning. Grab some breakfast, and hopefully everybody had a good morning. Turned into not a bad day. So we'll catch y'all later. Peter, Mike, thanks very much.
Thank you.
Take care, Brian.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, we'll talk to y'all tomorrow, Friday, and we're going into a long weekend. So Friday into weekend, end of summer might be a bit of a quiet day, but I'm sure we'll find some to trade.
Oh.
I hope so.
Long weekend. I didn't even know about it.
Yeah.
What does this do to me now?
Labor Day.
I used to know every long weekend because I would get extra days off. And now it's just a long weekend. It's just another normal day.
Just another day, right? Yeah.
Just another day.
Well, long days are days you don't make money in this business.
Yeah.
I don't really care for them a whole lot, to be honest. Can we just keep it open and just show up and do our thing? No.
Indeed. And welcome to the Thorster.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
We heard rumors that you had some pretty awesome trading a little bit earlier, so I just have to.
They were in fact rumors, but I appreciate everyone thinking so kind. No, actually, so I had a lovely call on Tesla short today, but my stop was a little wide, so I cut it to try and reposition it. Hoping it would come a little higher and give me a better stop. And then I cut it, and then it literally reversed and ran away from my cut position. So, I mean, just ahead of break even. It's just classic why I don't move to break even. But I was hoping to get a better entry. But I did long Apple when Apple called around 10 a.m. So, and I'm still currently holding that one, though. I haven't hit my profit target on it, but I'm going for 232. So, fingers crossed, we'll get there.
Well. There you go. There's your chart. Yeah. Now I finally got it set here. Okay.
You can see it on DOS.
Cool.
I execute in DOS when I take equity trades, so you can see here's my trade.
Oh. Okay. We were using you as an example because people were basically, Thor, people were admonishing Mike and I for taking partials, and like, well, Thor doesn't take partials, and I'm like, well, yip-de-doo for Thor. No, but what we were saying, because you've got such faith in your strategy and your approach, you've developed that, and it's a more mature approach. I absolutely 100% would subscribe to that, and I just can't do it. I'm not, and honestly.
It overcomes a deficiency that I have, Peter, which is I really suck at reading momentum. Right. So I really don't completely know if we're reversing or not. I just kind of get an idea of institutional intention and I trade ranges in that direction. But I learned very early, compared to like Paris or an Andrew or, you know, some of these guys, I can't read price this well. So I'm going to just buy low and basically sell high, right? I went old school. So, but you know, it works for me, thank goodness. But we'll see here, like if Apple sells all the way back down and comes through and takes me out, for instance, you would be like, oh my God, why aren't you partialing right now? You guys would have made profit on a strategy I otherwise, you know, would have lost money on. But what happens is of these, I will hit the majority, you know, the minority of my hits will outweigh them because, you know, these are all 4-to-1 hits. Exactly. You know, so they make really good money. So, yeah.
Yep. All right, we're going to leave you to it so you can enjoy. You don't have a guest today, right? It's the Thor show?
It is Thor's Day. So generically on Thor's Day.
Of course it is. Silly question.
I tend to fly solo if I can. I even dress down because I don't have anyone coming in here. You know, I'm just wearing workout gear.
Just you and your training buddies on YouTube.
I was just, you know, doing some cleaning earlier, starting to do some stuff. So yeah, you know, all right, how we do.
Well, enjoy it then. Thank you, everybody, for sticking with us.
You two both poloed up. I mean, who can keep up? So why even try?
Well, again, it's my fancy shirt week, so I've decided to wear the all the most colorful and patterned shirts that I could find. So tomorrow's my grand finale. We'll see how that goes. I've got one in mind that I never wear.
It's going to be a tough gig overcoming with this one. I'm particularly in love with this one, Peter. I have a soft spot for this particular color and pattern.
Okay. All right. Well, there you go. We'll see. We'll see what you think of tomorrow's then. But anyways, thank you, Mike, for jumping in and helping me out. I greatly appreciate it.
Absolutely,
thank you to everybody.
Peter.
Thanks everybody on YouTube for sticking with us during some of the little dropouts. Again, apologies for that. Tomorrow, hopefully, it shall be better. And Mike, are we seeing you back tomorrow morning for the pre-market, or who's with me?
Yeah, I can come tomorrow morning.
That would be great.
Set it up.
That would be a great help. Okay,
yep. We'll
over to you. It's all you, my friend. Have a great rest of the morning here.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it, and thank you, everybody. Yeah, just a reminder, we do have a 3-day weekend coming up. Can you believe that, people? You know, you start thinking about, man, I love being a trader, and then all of a sudden, holidays completely change your perspective, right? What's a holiday mean to me? It means I can't work and my kids are home. Right? Like completely different perspective from everybody else, right? You know, most people are like, oh, I get a day off of work. This is great, but I get a holiday pay. I'm going to hang out with my kids. I'm like, no, I'm just going to not get paid to like, to do. Oh, man. So how's everybody doing here? Good to see everybody in YouTube Landia. It's great to have everybody. Don't forget while we're here, please throw some likes and stuff like that. As you can see, I am long Apple. I did take a long on NQ also, and that's going to end up being my big winner for the day. Surprise, surprise. So NQ actually just looked like it was bottoming well. I actually got ready to buy this thing and I hit the wrong stinking button. So I exited it when we made a new high and actually took a small loss on it, but it flipped it long because once I got in, I was like, actually, kind of looks like it might sell. And then I was like, no, this is stupid. So I ended up flipping long on that because I got to be very, very careful on full-size contracts. And then I ran this one back to monthly R3 and went out. Boom, nice target, right? So, but that's not super textbook. This is the textbook one here. And then can I tell everyone my frustration on Tesla? What I did. Look at this thing. Now, I will admit that I cut this intentionally because my stop was way up here and I wanted to get it tighter. But it cut right at break even. I actually took a little slippage on this thing. I lost like $40 and then it just ran in the other direction. And I just wanted to illustrate to you all over and over and over again while I insist that I don't stop out at break even. This is why I don't stop out at break even. Now, in my defense, I was stopping out intentionally to try and reposition it because my stop was too wide. But you know what I mean? I should have just left it on. My target was here at like just above 346. Even with the wide stop, I would have hit my target. I should have just left it on. No, I'm not in it. I'm out. So I had to wait for another good call, and the next best call I could come up with was this Apple trade, and I really like it. I got long and I ran my stop below the pullback at S3, and I'm just missed hitting a target on this one. So we'll see. Today might end up being a bit of a frustrating day. You know, really what I'd consider to be almost a technical error on the first one. Apple's gorgeous. But luckily, thanks to my NQ hit, I mean, the NQ hit was a $2,000 trade. So each one of these equity trades is only worth $1,000, but my NQ trade is worth 1,000. So or is worth 500 when I risk it. So I make 2 G's on those. So I'm not like I'm okay, but you know how it goes. Anyway, so just in case you want some real-time evidence on why this guy doesn't use break even, I just thought I'd show it to you. So now, unfortunately, because of that, I'm going to, would you rather add and break even double size to yeah, so Jesse, I'm really bad at it. That's one thing that I've never been really good at is judging that area that I need to in order to figure out where to add. So for me, when I have the wide entries, normally when it comes back to break even, it goes a little higher. You know, at least like 25 cents or 5 cents or something. So it lets me, I can actually watch how it reoffers. And if it comes back down, I'll get back in and just throw my stop above the high. And it allows me to really get a much better stop. And it works for me quite well. But in this instance, as soon as I went out, the thing just ran the other direction, which is so typical for getting stopped out at break even. Like, I don't even know how the market knows to do that. I just went out at the monthly pivot, but it actually happened to be just a profit target of 2K. So they just happened to be together. I didn't exit because of the monthly pivot. But I am aware because we're near monthly R3, we're in a selling range on the larger time frames. Of course you can, Phoenix. That is why I am here, and you have a star, which means you are super cool. An AMD short? AMD short's beautiful. Hold on to it. Don't get rid of this. This AMD short is a straight winner. Please do not cut this position. AMD is a higher, wider range. It didn't call in my system because we didn't open low enough for the sweep. That's okay. I'm okay with how this found top. It reoffered. This reoffer ghosted. Really weak reoffer, right? You then found a seller there. You liquidated beautifully. You've now been consolidating, but just remember, this is about chutes and ladders, right? You're going down much faster than you're going up, right? You've been sitting here for a long time. It's not like you've been making new highs and coming back to the high of day. This thing's more than likely going to go down more, right? So let's pull its order book and double check. Oh, yeah. I mean, you're sure from up here, you're in a beautiful place. My win rate is not static, Alex. So on my my win rate is never lower than 40%. My overall win rate, like for like the past like year or two, probably runs somewhere north of 60%. But I oscillate in between 80% efficacy and 40% depending on the month. The market goes through cycles, and some of those cycles fit my systems better than others. Naturally, and I'm better at executing in certain cycles. Like I'm kind of a perma bear. So like right now, this month, I made more money this month than I've ever made in my trading career. Hands down. I mean, I absolutely blasted this month because it's been, you know, the bears have been in town a bit this month. I've had some really nice shorts hit. And I've been doing them with full-size contracts, which hasn't hurt. But like the past couple of days, I've actually made, like right now on Apple, I'm long. Right. So I am, you know, willing to hit. But an AMD's order book is still bearish too. Look at AMD's order book. Yeah, the AMD for me is a straight hold. For a short, if you're short. I would not buy or cover. The red orders move to the DOM very nicely. Our green orders are absorbed by the algorithm, right? So when we get green dots, we absorb. When we get red dots, we move down. So this looks like distributionary behavior, right? Even here at the open, big green buy, and then we moved, but the buy didn't move us. We moved after it. So that's, so first off, on AMD, let's have some fun with this real quick. Let's check out the VPA here. So that opening candle, is that opening candle strong or weak? Let's do a poll. Give me an S if you think it is strong. Give me a W if you think it's a weak signal. You obviously know we sold off afterwards, so it's kind of a given. So okay, so do you think it is a strong candle or a weak candle, this opening candle? S or W? Oh, I'm surprised. See, I've got some work to do with you people. So you would not know this until later. And this is why analyzing things are hindsight is 2020, and you never want to trade the opening candle. It is a weak ass candle, but you wouldn't know it for 10 minutes. Right? At the open, you are right. For everyone who said strong, if you were looking at this candle in this context, that is a strong candle, right? That is a bullish engulfing candle with almost 1 million shares worth of buying, right? But once it gets responded to, you get a candle that's an inverted hammer on high selling, right? That on only a fraction of the distance is able to generate an over 60% of the volume, right? This moved to an order and spun its volume here in premium, right? So this was a weak buy, and we squeezed to premium and then sold at premium. This is a weak candle, but you wouldn't know that because now watch what happens. We sell, and then watch what happens when we come back up. Look at the volume. Anyone? What happened to the volume when we pulled back up? The volume ghosted, right? It dropped. As we tried to offer premium to buyers, we lost volume. This insinuates we're going to drop, right? So now we have enough information to take a short, right? Because we've seen an incredibly strong offering to premium that was absorbed. We then sold as a response, and when we re-offered premium, we could not entice buying. The response to that was selling. So if you were short somewhere up here with your stop above high of day, you were making the right decision. This is also a higher, wider range. If you're following my cam pivot system, higher, wider ranges we are only for shorting. There is no longing at a higher, wider range. Why? Because our ATR high is right here. Right? There is no expectation for a breakout. How far do you expect to really go? $2? Right? So this is a short. So you would be looking to short in here off of the failure at R4 for a movement to S3 across the range, right? It's a higher, wider range. So you'd be looking for a movement to S3. So look, we moved down. All of our volume is still on the sell side, right? We're just not finding a lot of selling right now because other tickers are moving up, but Apple wants to distribute right now. You can even tell above VWAP, there's very little orders. So if they squeeze, maybe they squeeze back to VWAP to try and look. There's an order at 168.50. So if they pull back, look for it to come to 168.50 and then find the seller. If they don't, you could exit if we reclaim VWAP because, we'd move into the void probably. I'm still holding the stinking AMD. So I'm still holding Apple, So kind of contrary to AMD, look at Apple's order structure. What do you guys think? What do you guys and gals think about Apple's order structure right now? Oops, wrong one. I wait, like normally, like it depends on the play. Like on Apple, I didn't enter till, almost 10 o'clock. What do you think about this order book? Bullish or bearish? On Apple. I think it's a pretty easy read on this one. I don't think there should be a general consensus on this one. This is probably one of the easiest examples I've given you on a bullish or bearish book in quite a long time. This is very bullish. Like there are nothing but large institutional sell orders to the top side, right? No orders below, not even good tiering to the downside, retail tiering, right? This thing looks very strong right now. So fingers crossed, we'll go bust. We know we've got tiering between 332 and 232 and 233. So I do think it's reasonable to believe we can run 232. So that's why I'm holding on for hopes that this position is going to fill. The only issue is right now we are in a selling range. Isn't it interesting? Look, see how things put together with my trading system? Look here. See how you can see where the sell orders start? Here, here, and here at the beginning of the day. Where does that start? 230.50? Look at 230.50. Guess where all my R levels are? Right? It's in the selling range. This is why this is a selling range. But you don't just short because it's in a selling range. Right? If it's bullish, you're buying through the selling range. You actually have to wait for it to finish buying through the selling range and then sell once it's selling. Right? Right now, we're still bullish, so we're buying. Right now, AMD is struggling to sell through a buying range. Right? That's why AMD isn't going down very easily, because the market itself is actually kind of pushing right now. And AMD otherwise wants to distribute through a buying range. Ranges are everything, right? Watching for correlative activity within these ranges is like a cheat code to watching the market. Pre-market high obviously has a fairly strong seller because we keep stopping here, but 232 looks like is the target. So in my cam system, Mickey, in my cam system, the R's, R3 and R4 delineate the selling range. The buying range is S3 to S4. If you go below S4, you go into another selling range. If you go above R4, you go into another buying range. So like my entire trading system, obviously I highly recommend you pick up a copy of a complete day trading system, right? Grab a copy of that because then you'll actually understand like the system, more intimately. But what we're going to be looking for is you're basically going to be doing this. This is more or less my system, in a picture. So based upon higher range or lower range, right? And based upon the what's going on here? Why aren't you doing what you're supposed to do? You don't want to. Only over here. Really weird. I don't know. Hey, there we go. It started working. Okay, so, based upon whether it's a higher range or a lower range, depends on which cams you're going to play. And then opening position and whether or not the cam is narrow or wide will determine which ones you select. So, for instance, you can play R3 on a narrow range, but it's preferred on a wide range, right? Because it's an inside play, right? And that goes the same with these S4 or R4 rejections. So once you learn the overall system, though, you'll get it going pretty good. Like AMD, for instance, right? Look at that. See, still looking good for that short. Like I said on AMD, you just hang on to it. I really think AMD is gonna. Hopefully next week, Water Dude. I have found a couple of bugs. So I don't, it's not quite, the update's not ready because we added in a lot of play calling logic. Ooh. Real quick, just a little bit of love. Two things. One, thumbs up for the channel. Please make sure you've subscribed, liked, make sure you've got it set, to notify you. And then also we have our garbage trucks and Lambos, right? Make sure to join that. It's like a cup of coffee to belong to that. And then I know Andrew's going to be making some special content just for you, as well as it gives you a multiplier whenever we do any of our drawings. You get more chances of winning. And then also we are in the final couple days of our we have a campaign for children's cancer. It's called Bearish on Cancer, Bullish on Life. We're trying to raise $3,000 to try and do a charitable donation towards helping with children's cancer. So please make sure you take a moment, and if you are so inclined, you know how the sales pitch goes. Any small bit will help. And then the other campaign is we like the kind that jingles, but we prefer the kind that folds. I think is when you're donating. No? Okay, sorry. Definitely work rate. Thank you, Phoenix. So AMD trying to do its thing. I really need some love on Apple. Apple's looking not great, and we're having a lot of trouble getting Apple to you can see how it rolled over in front of 232. It really doesn't look like we've got a book for selling off on this thing. So I really don't think we are, but we are starting to bring in some bearish orders closer to the price right now. So if they want to sell, there's apparently someone that's willing to buy. So that's not good for me. But if we move down on Apple, that's gonna let AMD crack. So keep an eye on AMD, because this could be, for your hold on AMD, this could be your moment. You want AMD, I would at least hold this thing for pre-market low. But if this thing cracks pre-market low, the expectation for move on this one is 164.25. I would probably cover somewhere around 165 and be all out. I don't think there's much of a reason to go much lower than that, or to try and swing much lower. So, oh, it just found a buyer. All right, so this is really important. Watch this on AMD. Look how we had buying volume come in. And look how the ghost candle shows that it was higher volume. But notice it left a topside wick. I would look for an immediate sell as a response to this candle, right? So if it doesn't sell, that's going to tell you a lot, because that candle should be a sell candle as a response. There it goes. See? VPA and candle patterning is just beautiful. Isn't it fun? So you saw how we had high volume come in. That should have resulted in an engulfing, right? But it didn't. So we actually closed that back in value. And the algorithm, the way it's designed, it should offer the bid after seeing a candle like that. Right? So, and of course it did. Now we'll watch this candle. How do they close this candle? If this closes as a bearish engulfing, which right now it's looking like it might, it has 3 seconds to close. Right? All right, it closed. So this offer should be an immediate offer to a slight offer to midway on this candle. It should reoffer about 167.42 and then press the bid. If it reoffers to here and presses the bid, we're going to go hit low of day, or at least PDC again. So look, as we raised up, look, we immediately went and pressed the bid. See what I mean? And then watch us move to PDC. Boom! Look at that. I love this game, even when I'm losing on other positions. And so Roy, this is the matrix, man. Once you start to learn volume and price and how the algorithms respond to volume and price, you can start to see this stuff, right? So, but you could see, I could literally play by play call, right, how the algorithm should respond to each one of these candles, right? So, and then what it would do correspondingly afterwards. Okay, well, this candle closed like this. It should offer the bid. After it offered the bid and closed low, I knew if it didn't offer value and it immediately pressed the bid, we would drop hard down to PDC. And that's where we came down and tagged low of day in PDC. Now we'll reoffer here, right? Because look how much volume came in on this candle. So now we're going to reoffer the close. If we sell here and go lower, this is going to be a bloodbath. Right, this will go at least to 2 days ago's close, but this will likely be the start of a cycle lower. Right, we'll go from here probably all the way down to maybe pre-market low. Right, so look how we reoffered PDC. Right, look at how the selling came in. Right, and we closed inverted. Now the response to this should be a bid offer. If we offer up and buy that high, we will get a squeeze that will come up probably all the way back to 167.50. Right, so if you wanted to take like a scalp long, you'd be looking for it to crack this high to pull that. So what happens when it reoffers this high, right? Okay, it bought the high. Boom, there it goes. Look at that. See what I mean? It's really fun once you get used to, once you learn kind of how to read this stuff. Now what I do is so no bloodbath, right? Someone bought the low. Right? So now what we're looking is now they're going to go hunting that seller again. Where did they find them before? Right here. Right? So that's where they hunted. All right, now this did not close engulfing. So we're now going to see them. Oh, boom. Look at that. Someone came in there and hit the close with a big sell order. Right? So now they absorbed that sell order. That's interesting. Look how they absorbed that hard sell. Someone blasted a sell order and they actually absorbed it. When I say they, I mean the specialist algorithm. So that means it wanted to buy. So let's see what happens as a response to that. Can they close this low? If they close the, ooh, interesting. See how they're absorbing the selling? If this closes as a downside wick and we make a new high, this should be we should buy the close. All right, there's our downside wick. Let's watch it make a new high. And watch the response. If we engulf here, this thing pops. Big time. See, I'm not using a tape, right? I'm not even looking at the order book right now. I'm just reading chart patterning, right? So we're just reading VPA. One of the advantages to having TradingView right now is you can use my ghost candles. These are my, this is my proprietary designed candle. I know I've heard that there has been similar indicators. I don't know of anyone who's done, candles that, disappear based upon volume like this. Volume and price analysis. So what I'm actually reading is the number of shares that are coming in on each candle and relating them to each other. So I can actually tell which candles are strong and which ones are weak. There's our engulfing, right? So this offer should be a premium offering at 167.36, right? If we buy premium there, this will cause likely a short-term reversal off of the low of day, right? So all right, so we're offering premium now. That's the tops of these candles, right? So this is old discount, new premium. We want to see them buy and close above this. If we can't get above this and we sell down, that's gonna make things a lot more indecisive. But if this is a true bottom, this should be enough. They should buy here. And then this would move from here to 167.75 fairly quickly. You'd be looking at a movement back basically to VWAP. 167.50, 167.75. See all the buying right now? See the postural difference on the buying as well? It's actually going to the DOM, and they're leaving orders out to the downside. Getting a little bit of love out of Apple, huh? Apple seems kind of committed to this move. I might be on the side of the specialist here. So what is it? What's interesting about Apple right now? Anyone? What do you find kind of interesting about Apple? Apple's order book and Apple's volume? What's happening when we have red dots that's really interesting? Yeah, we're getting red dots, but we're going up. That means the specialist algorithm is absorbing all the selling and still advancing. Right? So this generically means that the algorithm has become it's committed itself to a movement. Right? Normally I would expect a very hard movement to ha 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 ha. Yes, like that. Normally this means the algorithm, yeah, look how bullish the book is. See, there we go. Right, so the algorithm is any buying that comes in, even small buying, the algorithm is allowing it to go to the book to help advance the price. Any big selling, the algorithm's absorbing it. So that means that because there's a big seller up here, right? So the more the algorithm buys here, the better the average it has when it buys the seller, right? And then it'll go over, wait for an order to come in at 232, and then it will sell down into 232 with a better average. That was a pretty solid close. All right, we're back in the selling range on Apple. So this is going to be really important. I would like to see us buy through this high now, obviously. Pre-market high and high of day. My target on Apple is at 232.17. I really like this. I think we're working here. I just don't want to see a generalized rejection of R3, but I like that we came back and we actually got to pre-market low. Yeah, pre-market low and actually bought pre-market low. And now we're back at pre-market high. So I'll take it. What is your read on ES? I am waiting for a price to come back down to S3 for a buy. So statistically, buying the ES is going to be a little bit difficult right now because of what time it is. It's 11:30, and we've made some fairly significant new lows, right? So, you know what I mean? So our I think if you were going to buy it at S3, that kind of already needed to happen. I don't think there's going to be another offer of S3. I think we will likely rally at this point. There was a pretty strong buy here. We just unfortunately, that buy exhausted our buyers, so we had to come back down and entice them a titch. But I do think overall, we do seem we are in a higher range, and we do seem to be buying fairly well right now on the generalized market, other than AMD. AMD doesn't give it. So just like Apple seems to be convinced it wants to go up right now, AMD seems convinced it wants to go down. And this just shows you why you don't want to trade tech tickers like in tandem with each other. Right? You don't want to say you don't want to just assume that because two tickers are in a related sector that this is going to result in some form of similar performance, right? Because that, as you can see here, that's actually not really quite how that works. Yeah, stupid. I mean, this is a very serious selling range. So one of the reasons why we prefer these on wider ranges, especially, is because normally you can get to a target before you get mired up in the selling range like this. So having these little washouts is just a pain. But I still want you to see, like, I still think this is a long. The VPA actually still fits it. And what I mean by that is, so when I'm thinking VPA, I play this shoots and ladders game in my brain. And so right now, what I'm looking at is I'll go down here and I'll say, okay, from like, you'll see, let me do it this way with a line. I go from like this low to here, right? And then I'll go from the high to here. I do this in my head, obviously, and then I draw that, right? And then from here, because this is a low, right, all the way down to the next low before it pulls back up, kind of think of trending, right? I do this, and then I do this one, and then this one. So what I start doing is I start looking through these time frames and I start looking at which one takes the longest. This one just went up for 2 cycles. So then to come back down, it took us a pretty good amount of time. To go back up, we actually went up a little bit slower. So this is starting to look more like a sell now, right? If you start to look at it in this kind of cycle. Well, the reason why I changed my mind on it was actually because of this section right here. Look how quickly we moved from this low back to this high. Very fast, right? Like faster than we've, and the last time we moved this fast was when we were going from here to here, right? So it actually seems like we're more likely to buy in this range. So the selling seems to be truncated and absorbed, while the buying seems to be moving upwards faster, right? So for me, I would rather be long because it looks like we're accumulating, not distributing, right? Even when we sell, we go up, right? So our order book is bullish. And, you know, even though we have more selling, it seems like our market makers or our specialists are buying that, or they're accumulating it. So for me, I'm kind of like a little more willing to hang on to this and see where it goes. But if it makes a couple more new lows, this thing will start to look a little sketchy. I wish it hadn't have come off of this beautiful R4, but whatever, we hold. Here's MES book map for you. AMD is definitely in a higher range because we closed higher yesterday than we did 2 days ago, although it's very close to each other. So they were almost within tolerance to consider them to be neutral. And from the pivot structure, it does seem to be just ever so slightly wider. It just doesn't look like it because we're shifted higher. But you can see here, like if you shifted this down so they matched each other, this one would come down to here. This one would come down to here. Right? This one would come down to here, and this one would come down to here. Right? So you would still, from these cams, if you matched this one, every other cam would be to the outside. So I would definitely say this is a wider range in both. And it's a higher, wider range, so the R4 short would have been the target here for AMD. I didn't call it as a play because we opened too high. I would have preferred to have opened in the CPR. And then this high would have been right on the level. It would have been a little cleaner. Nvidia, let's look at it. Hopefully it's going up. So Nvidia is doing some things, right? Because I didn't even pay attention to what its news was. I mean, I know what its news was. I just didn't pay attention to the result of it. Central pivot range, Cameron. I would not. I think Nvidia looks more like a short. But it's in a buying range. So shorting in a buying range is just a horrible idea. But it's found a buy here. And then a buy there. These feel like short covers. Big engulfing. Offered R3-ish. Sold. Made a new low. That was the trade right there. That short right there was gangster. Reoffering what would have been the calculated ATR high. And we sold all the way through the ATR low. You can see where we bounced off of it, but we cracked it. And now I don't think Nvidia may not offer really good trades. It might just get kind of stuck in the mud, chopping around here. It actually kind of looks like it's a short right now. The order book is bearish near the price, and we have an abundance of selling. So for me, I actually think this looks like we're distributing. We have a fairly large order set underneath us and lots of selling. So I wouldn't long Nvidia. I think it was reoffering near the open to try and get a better position to sell. Oh, wow. So if anyone doubts how well an ATR high calculation can work, so for anyone who doesn't have them, these are also coded by BruzzX, and they're called adaptive ATR limits. They're of my design that Bruz coded. So basically, you can see here as the tops, the ticker sold. Look, it came all the way down to here and bottomed, which we called, but it bottomed and when it found its top. Now, by the time it found its top, here's the top. And look, the ATR low. Look at where low of day is. I mean, my gosh, I love these things. Look at this. Hold on, let me rearrange them. Let me hide cams for a minute. And key levels. Actually, I'll add, yeah, that's fine. Look at that. I mean, I try to give you the good stuff. You have no idea how much time I've put finding the best version of every indicator for you. That's why you should come by here 11 to 12, Monday through Friday. So you get the best tech. You get the, BBT families generating the best stuff for you. And then we've got the best psychology. And we've got the most humble moderators that are definitely the best looking. And oh wait, sorry. That ran amok. I mean, even look at the plays themselves, how well they hit. God, I love these things. Yeah, Instagram. If you go to Instagram or go in TradingView and you can just type them. Those ones are public. I use my own Premiere. So basically it's a very simple ATR method, but it is the industry standard. Right? So what I do is I do a 14-day look back, and then I calculate session high to session low. And that's it. Apple's still absorbing the selling. Still think I got a shot on this one. Gator Don, I'm so glad you got that, brother. I cannot believe I'm not in that trade. So just to show everybody again, I got in, and when I got in, I ran my stop a little wide, and I wasn't sure. And so when it came back up, I exited it to reposition this, and it literally ran away from me right after I went out at break even. And this is just a beautiful, beautiful, ugly, horrible, nasty example of why I never use break even or try and reposition my positions. Like I just stink at it, I guess. So I missed myself an absolutely flawless Tesla trade today. Would have been a full target. I did hit a long on ES, so or NQ, I mean. So I'm okay there. And then I've got this lovely Apple long going. And by lovely, I mean, I don't know. That was partially sarcastic. So, but you can see it's working. But some really freaking good trades. Like I love my trades. Like this week, I have had like my control has been really, really nice on my entries and exits. So the Tesla one just annoys me. I like what I was trying to do on it, and I needed to reposition it. It was just not good. But it just stinks that I would have hit my target even if I hadn't repositioned it. I should have just left it alone. Yeah, I can look at PLTR. Oh, nice, Gator. You're awesome, dude. PLTR, I would not mess with right now. PLTR is not a good place for a long or a short. It's in a kill zone. I would leave PLTR alone. PLTR is a lower, wider range. The only it doesn't have a play. I actually don't think I would look at PL. I mean, it looks like it's going to sell off, but I personally would not interact with PLTR at all today. Come on, Apple, you can do this. It's wild to think we're only at pre-market high right now. You know what I mean? I only use mine, Gearoid. But I do think you can use the DOS ones, right? You can use the DOS ones. They work quite well. Mine are just the best. And I'm not saying that in any other if mine weren't the best, I would be using someone else's. Right. So I genuinely believe my cam calculation and my methodology for interacting with the market in this fashion is by far superior to anybody else's. So, but if but I have to believe that, right? If I didn't believe that, it wouldn't work, I think, right? So, but you can, I don't know, just stick around this channel. I'll just show you over and over again every day until you believe me. I think it's okay. Be skeptical. I'll prove it to you. But the DOS ones work very, very well as well. Now, for those of you who don't have TV and are looking to use DOS, Andrew is we're doing development on Trading Terminal right now that we will be able to hopefully import all of my scripting into Trading Terminal at some point in the not so distant future. So just stick with us. Yeah, sure. I'll show you right now on Apple. So right now I love the fact that my candles are called ghost candles. They are of my own invention. I'm very proud of them. So basically what it does is it allows you to combine volume and price movement at the same time, which is never something I've seen accomplished in this fashion. So what you can see is if you're looking down here, go ahead and look for any large volume. Answer me this. what kind of candles are you seeing large volume on? Buy candles, right? It's on buy candles. So it looks like we're accumulating, right? It looks like we are actually buying right now, right? Because anytime we get large, look at where the sell volume is. Look at the big sell volume. What kind of candle did that sell volume come on? This is the first candle I've seen on Apple that's like giving me any pause, like it looks like it could actually sell, right? Because this was an inverted a very strong, full-bodied, nice red candle, but still, it's not enough, right? I would want to see, you know, something a little bit more significant. For me, this thing is, I'm just going to hold this thing because I still think we can hit my target. But you can see we're obviously running into a very large order set that we're struggling against here in the selling range. But the order book is still very bullish, and our buying still outweighs our selling for the most part. So I hold. But these are called Thor's Ghost candles. And if you want to find them, just go to my Instagram. Thor at Thor Young BBT. At Thor Young BBT. And you can get the link right there. I think the link is private right now, so you may not be able to find it directly by searching. You might have to get the link. They have been just instrumental in my Nvidia selling, baby. It looked like it was gonna sell, huh? Look at the volume coming in on this sell candle. See? That's why I like the ghost candles. You can tell it's a really strong candle just by looking at it. Natalia, PLTR is not a trade today, because there we go. It has already violated its rule base, right? So it's a lower wide range, which means it would have needed to open above the CP and squeeze to R3. Find a seller at R3 and then move back down, right? But that can't happen, right? Because we already opened and we swept S3. So sweeping S3 kills this play, right? There's no expectation that we're going to rally all the way to R3 and then all the way back down, right? The expectation is nothing. We're just going to bounce here and then likely come and finish going off down to ATR low at S4. So like for me on PLTR, I'd likely look for a short this direction to close the day, especially since it's almost noon. The vast majority of plays in the afternoon are continuation plays. So when we had this move down here, you can see that we absorbed into pre-market high, then we sold and then bought right back up. But that buy candle was very weak, right? So although it was an engulfing candle, it looks really, really strong at first glance, but in reality, it's actually not the world's strongest candle. So this candle actually was comparatively, you can see this candle should have been engulfing. This one should be small. So I have a premium attempt here that was rejected, and then an attempt to move back to premium that was done without enough volume. Starts to look a little sketchy. But right now, overall, we're still buying more than we're selling. Like our largest sell candle was still a relatively small candle. If this candle here was like this big, and then we re-offered, I would be pretty nervous about this re-offer. Can you explain candle patterns and premium? We might have to save that one for tomorrow. Ghost candles are not available in TOS. Unfortunately, you can't adjust the shading in the same fashion. You can't make them ghost properly. You can change the color a little bit, I think, but not the shading. So but we have a version I think we're working on that'll just do a color shift. So it'll go from like pink to darker pink, basically. So hopefully we'll get that working. So basically, anytime you have a candle, every single candle, right? Every one of the major like candle types, right? Tell a story. And depending on how volume is applied to them, they tell different stories. Right? So like this candle, for instance, is what we would call an engulfing. Right? So each candle shows you premium, value, and discount in that time frame. Right? So an engulfing candle is a candle that opened at premium or discount and managed to buy all the way through or sell all the way through. An indecision candle, right, or a spinning candle is a candle that could not buy premium or discount. Rather, it closes at value, which is why it's very indecisive, right? Because you get this value line that basically runs right through the middle. Right? So these candles, hammer candles, show that you've went to one edge and you've bought all the way off of it or sold all the way off of it. Right? Now, if this happens with a lot of volume from the bottom up, that's very strong. A lot of volume from bottom down. No volume, these can be considered hangman candles. Right? So it shows that we squeezed without a lot of volume to re-offer this high premium. Right? So you'll see a lot of your major reversal patterns, right, look like this. We call them isolated pivots, right? And they all kind of have this similar kind of a shape to them. Right? Stuff like that. Right? So these are all topping and bottoming patterns, right? That come in. Now, certain ones are going to read differently. Like on this one, you want low volume because it's a hangman. On this one, you want high volume because it's a shooting star. On this one, either will do. Right? So, but knowing how, an engulfing candle on low volume is a very weak candle, not a strong candle. Right? But people won't recognize the difference without the VPA. Right? So if you want to learn more about volume and price analysis, definitely make sure you join with the Bear Bull Traders community. I do in-depth webinars on volume and price analysis. I also do have a book that does have a fairly heavy VPA chapter in it. And of course, I will always recommend the incomparable Anna Cooling, who has one of the best, a complete guide to volume and price analysis, one of the best resources on it that I've come across. So I really appreciate everybody, and I hope you all have had a great trading Thursday. It's been so much fun trading with everybody this week. I will look forward to seeing everybody on tomorrow. Probably going to have my buddy Nathan in with me because we're going to hopefully the market will be a little more active so we can show you guys some spot gamma and bookmap stuff, and we'll talk more VPA if you'd like. So otherwise, I'm going to just hang on to this apple. Fingers crossed it gets up to my target, and I'll talk to you all tomorrow. Much love, everybody out there in the BBT family, and keep it green. I'll talk to you soon. Don't forget thumbs ups.